And we know what Jesus was when he was a man on earth. What was his profession? Was he a doctor?
Carpenter.
He was a heavenly doctor, but what was Jesus' work?
Carpenter.
But that's his heaven. But when he was a man on earth,
Panday to si Lord
he was
Jesus.
a carpenter. Jesus
Panday to
was
siya.
a carpenter. Because we know Jesus is the foundation. Jesus is the foundation. But also the builder. Without us, without the carpenters, the workers, there's no building. Without Jesus, there's no building, heavenly building for us. And then once though I became, and Jesus came in, and it's like, oh, Jesus, please forgive me for my sins. I could feel right away, boom, the God coming in me. And so it's no longer me. I feel me in there because I'd rather go steal a chicken and have a dinner. I would rather. I guess that means we're on. Well, that was only 30 seconds more. Just inviting some folks, and hopefully we'll have a very cool show today about the glorious designs that point to a heavenly creator, our loving God and Savior, Jesus Christ. And here we go. I'm going to give us a little tour of the Philippines. Again, I think we've been there, but we'll go back because it's such a gorgeous place. And let's see. And did I say that already? How do we do this? It's been a week. Boom, pop that one. And we're going to show a little, just a little fun, just the people, but you can see in the background just the glorious creation back there, but also the people. People are the utmost example and evidence of design. I'm getting better at actually talking and clicking at the same time. You guys know I'm not that good. Here we go. And we'll get that. And
Silak-silak, loyo sa Panginoon. Ginoo, Ginoo, hinumdumi ako. Ginoo, Ginoo, hinumdumi ako. Ginoo, Ginoo, hinumdumi ako sa imong pagbalik. Once more. Balay ko sa langit, nagasilak-silak. Balay ko sa langit, nagasilak-silak. Balay ko sa langit, nagasilak-silak. Loyo sa Panginoon.
Awesome.
Hinumdumi ako, Ginoo, Ginoo.
Quit clicking. But awesome smiling faces of people who in our first world countries, you would say, it's like, what is the use? The poverty, the poorness of worldly goods. But look at how the smiles. You've got the hope of a life better. And as we go through the discussion of how design is the way that that we can see the glory of God by his creation. Romans 1 tells us that even his eternal power and his Godhead is clearly seen. And so that if you're living like I was in sin before God touched my heart, I just want you to know that there's a light. There is a difference. Try it out. Take it for a test drive. It's free. So I'm not going to promise you, shiny hubcaps that are going to fall off, an engine that was filled full of sawdust. So it didn't make noise. Heard those little tricks. Not me. From used car salesmen who did and salesman and the one who did the repairs. Let's see how we're doing here. So what I want to take you, though, is in the nature side of the Philippines. And there's an island called something, Palaon. Forgive my translation, but let's check this out. You'll probably hear it coming. Hopefully this one is on. And we better stop that because you guys aren't hearing it. Probably. Share this. It's just.
Some of the world's most exotic wildlife.
We'll crank this back and over.
Mysterious creatures haunt the
There we go. Let's
forests
start
and
this
mangroves.
over for you guys. It's awesome.
The Philippines are a chain of tropical islands in the western Pacific Ocean. They're among the most spectacular islands on Earth. And they're home to some of the world's most exotic wildlife. Plants turn predator.
So as we get just the overview, we get the overview of just how awesome this tropical location. This is an island in the Philippines that is a tourist destination, very well known for just the beauty, but also the just a great place to go visit. Hopefully we're going to get a chance through the ministry to go here in this June. Anybody that wants to come, we can let you in on it. It's a conference of the church that we help there. And let's see what else. Nature-wise, you look at, and just right here, just this still picture, the tree life, the sun, the clouds giving rain. You've got every bit of this is and has been said even by evolutionists as designed, looking up in appearance. But is it just an appearance? Just it is an illusion that all this could come from by chance? I would say no. And again, we can agree to disagree. I'm agreeable like that. So that we'll keep looking at this stuff week by week. We can look at nature. You're going to have to decide for yourself, is this really something that you can imagine can have a belief that came by random chance processes? Wow, let's get into this. It's a beautiful place. It looks.
And darkness brings the island's most elusive animals out of hiding. The unique and the unusual flourish on the Philippines, the islands of mystery.
Hi, I'm JT, and I made Result Hunter, the search engine for conservatives. Let me just tell you what it does. First of all, big tech.
Great examples of the circle of life, the diversity of complexity. So that little scorpion there, and then the centipede, all in what you'd say is, wow, that doesn't look like a loving creator. But of course, we know whether you believe in godless evolution or evolution, things are different now than before. And as we look at that, we look at even the bats with the big old fangs that just eat fruit. We have, changing. We have things that are now more venomous. And we would say as creationists, like back at the beginning, it wasn't like that. It wasn't the incredible amount of hostility in the creation. But this is only a thing we would reason after we figure out that this was actually created. Otherwise, godless evolution is about death. We're told that as Christians, we are the cult of death because, our figurehead of Christianity is Christ. He that was crucified was killed for my sins, but that gave life. Jesus' death gave life. So we are actually worshiping life and eternal life, where in the other side, if you say this is just an appearance of design, but it is really just natural processes, then there's no heart behind it, no love, no emotion. It is just chemicals in the biology and just chance in the pre-biology universe. And so we are here in Proverbs Guys to encourage you to come along with us and at least try that. As the Bible novelly predicted, is that this sin-covered world was not always that way, and it won't be like that in the future. We will have an eternal hope, and contrast that with the godless evolution crowd and those who try to work their way to please a God. It's an end of death. So when I hear those, false arguments that Christianity, you worship death. No, we worship the life of Christ, his death, burial, and resurrection to life eternal that we are promised also. So you look at the nature there. Let's go a little bit farther that's kind of a cool stick. Actually, wow, what a place to stay. You see how that the branch there is twisted together, the vine, and you can see it's actually growing together. This is a natural graft. The parts of the plant are just, as they grow, as you can imagine, the insides where they're touching is not growing well. They're actually getting scar tissue, but that's where the life of the plant is. And so now that is just one continuous piece out of two, one life. Amazing what plants can do. The cells are growing. So the cells that are touching, the living cells are dying. And then at those joints, at that cool, and I went off track because I'm like, wow, that kind of looks like a DNA strand. You know how it twists together and then folds. So anywhere you see the bark there, that is just a normal growth. But inside, the barks will die, and then there at the joints, any place that's touching, it'll have its own little sore. If you imagine putting a ring around your finger or constricting your skin, when you grow, that will rub off. So in between there is just one now. It's Siamese twins, kind of a concept. Totally awesome. I'm going to speed this up more because you guys know I like to babble. And for me, it's actually, I love the fast forward because my brain works better that way. Less space in there to wander. So let's keep going on this awesomeness here. Into the better animals, kind of the insects. People aren't, that's not, but there's some cute. The smallest primate species in the world lives in the Philippines. And I'll skip forward sometimes so it doesn't take so long, but this is awesome. Anybody wants to join, if you get backstage, do say something because I'm at the YouTube site and I'd love to have your comments. Come on in. Okay, again, as a designer, we want to make this thing. We're going to, just like if some foreign country steals technology and they take it apart because they want to see how it's done. Okay, guys, okay, you've got a horrible, infertile landscape. So the plants coming there aren't surviving because there's nothing for them. So they mutated. I'll talk like a scientist instead of the stupid evolutionary illiteracy that's going on. So the plant then, some plants had mutations. And let's see, there's somebody at my door. Hello, Gangster Ghost.
Hi. Well, I need to. Are you all right in California? I heard a fire there. Are you all right?
Yeah, no, that's Southern California, like 2017, 2018 or 19. We had these kind of fires come through ours. That's where houses like, if you've heard of Joe Montana, football player, out of the famous football player, he had a place. He didn't live here anymore, but his mansion burnt down. A guy named Charles Schultz. Have you ever heard of Charles Schultz, Gangster Goats?
The other guy sounds familiar, but not Charles.
Charles Schultz. Have you ever heard of Charlie Brown?
Oh, yeah, that guy?
He created, now he's passed away, but they had land up there. I believe it was owned now was by the daughter, had one of a kind prints of the Peanuts cartoons nowhere else on the planet, and they burned. So again, and that's a good segue because you see this death happening here with the pitcher plant and other devastation. We would look at that, and I saw a comment, didn't get to look at to respond, but that a vain hope of eternal life. Vain hope? What is your hope? And the vain hope is not really a vain hope. When you look at the evidence, just here in this video, and we'll go more into it, Gangster, that there is a creator.
That's, man.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to do a show that day? Well, when would you like to do a show?
Well, we'll do that. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Right now, I'm actually finding some jobs. I've been able to have some time because, work has been scarce. The economy is not good. Even here in the sixth, whatever, largest economy in the world, if it was its own country, California, the failing state of California. So anyway, gang, so we'll get back to this. But with the fires, the devastation, how about vainglory of thinking you're something? Oh, I own this house. Joe Montana, Super Bowl, 5 times, 4 times champion. What I've heard is a really nice guy. Talk to anybody. He wasn't here, but it was a 10 to 14 million, $1 million mansion to the ground. Whoever bought that from it is like, whoa, I own Joe Montana's property now. Oh, now you own a bunch of ashes. That's what the vain hope, the vanity of life without a eternal future is vanity. This person, whether they were rich or not rich, they thought they had something. Joe Montana's estate, and boom, gone in a matter of a couple of hours. You have Charles Schultz stuff, and just think, the people that they could bring up to Charles Schultz's mansion and show him, like, see this cartoon here, not in existence anywhere on the planet, was never put out in a cartoon strip, gone, ashes. And so yeah, our hope, and great thought. And here's Mr. Joseph.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Come on.
I just asked what's going on.
Okay, so we're talking about the glorious creation. That's one of the, and I'm showing the island in the Philippines, one of them. And Gangster Ghost came in, so it kind of got it diverted onto the topic of the fires, which are an 8-hour drive on down California. It's on the pretty well mostly the other side of California, the dark side of California. And it was very interesting, again, just to see the contrast between nature and then humans that can actually create. We can actually distinguish, design things and take them apart. That's where I was when Gigi came in. But that, just in Hollywood, they were joking at one of the award show that God is not recognized in Southern California. In Hollywood, there is no God. And some of these mansions, Hollywood, going down in flames, it's like, oh my gosh, what have you worked for all your life? A worldly whatever, it's all going to burn. One day, we know, whether it's 1 million years, 10 billion years, tomorrow, it's going to be all gone. So we're just given that eternal hope. And welcome, Joseph. Have you seen any of the videos so far?
Yeah, I caught some of it. I came in earlier, but you had just got finished saying, let me know if you're in here because I'm on the other page and I can't make it talk backstage like you guys can. I don't know how you do that. What fresh wizardry is this?
Don't ask me.
But,
you're a tech guy, not me. I'm
allegedly.
No, I saw what you did. You were great. Anyway, so let's get back to this. And then if you guys want to stop, just shout out. Oh, you're on stage now, so you can shout out. Go back to we don't want to go back there yet. Go back here, get that. Oh, I shouldn't talk anymore. I'm having fun just figuring this stuff out. Nobody else is knowing what I'm doing. So here's the Philippines. Here's the carnivorous plants. So again, we're looking at that, and it said some of these have up to a liter of acidic kill juice inside of them when the bugs fall in. And then you look at this picture here, it's talking how the secretions from the plant are sweet for the bugs to get there. So if I'm going to create, I'm going to redesign, I'm going to break this down and recreate it. It's like, I'm going to just, my mouth just hangs open. Look at that. And even the little edge to it. And the secretions come out there the most. So the ant starts, getting the nice sweet. And when I saw the liter, it's like, oh, is it a liter of Coke, liter of Pepsi? No, it's a liter of death. And the bug will sit up there, start eating on it, and fall in because it's slippery. Okay, all those things are different design qualities. So you need the funnel, of course, the vase shape. Then you need those secretions. Then you need, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter if they're there. And I've trapped a lot of rodents in my day, and unless you can get them into the kill section, it's not going to do you any good. I've lost so much bait. I fed so many rodents because they just come and eat it off, and it doesn't spring the trap. So here's another section here of design in here. Along with the fact is this, the leaves up there are doing the photosynthesis. Now this is your actual nutrient processor, not just trap, but now when it's down in the juices down there, the kill juices, it is decomposing the insect, and then they're using that to feed the plant. Come on, guys. Come on. That's one plant. And okay, you can believe this happened by chance. But again, show me how. Show me how random chance, unguided mutations is going to do this, because you need all those. You can't just have one. You can't just have a vase plant. Cool, it's a house for a mouse then. You can't have just the top with the nice sweet food for the insects, because then you're just feeding the insects and your plant's going to die. And then you need the insects to actually like that material that is being produced. Wow, guys. Let's keep going. Joseph, Gigi, you want me to?
That did not look good, man. I would not have eaten that.
Is it any better than? Well, actually, at least the French and people eating snails. At least they put them in a lot of garlic. That
Yeah, they said that was technically a clam with a tiny shell. Did you catch that?
Yes.
That's wild. That's wild.
Crazy. And then as creationists, we can say, yeah, there is, and even talking about the trees with the adapting in a salt water muck, and roots need oxygen, and that they've adapted to be able to get the air oxygen from exposed roots. And that I can say, yeah, we do believe in adaptations. But the thing is, was it pre-programmed in, or is it these random chance mutations? We do not see, a creature, even in the oldest, and give them, let's grant them the 10 quadrillion years. You do not see less complex creatures. The trilobites, the sponge things, they're still highly complex in their DNA. So you look at that, and it's like, we as creationists say, yeah, God has designed it so well that the DNA has plenty of room and to adapt for adaptation, for change. But that's more of a design aspect, not random chance. But let's see what else we can eat out of here. Footnote. So these guys are the most abundant species, whatever, besides humans, found all over the world, from icy to tropical zones. And you're going to say, how come these guys have so many niches, so many places they can live, so much adaptation? Seems like these guys are pretty strong. Seems like mutations usually will weaken a species, weaken different species. So these are pretty tough guys. And then why didn't? Yeah, there's so many questions. There's more questions on how this happened by chance rather than design. Let's
Dan,
keep going. Yes, sir.
but I don't think they're tough as you. You'd just be dancing in there, right, Dan?
No, because and that's again, the narration was so goofy. It's like they've got to watch their little steps, or these things are light creatures that jump around in trees. Those little roots, unless they fell out of a tree, isn't going to get them. It's like an ant walking on bed of nails, isn't going to do anything. And you look at this, and no, I wouldn't go up against these guys. Like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those puppies. I would be their food. At least I'd be sleeping there in the mud for eternity.
Hey, is Claude backstage? He said in the
Oh.
chat, Dan, I'm waiting.
You're supposed to. No. So let's see.
Oh, you muted. You muted.
You're the man, GG. Thank you. But anyone wants to come in, I can see the backstage now. Come on in, and we can get you on. And so, but you look at that. You've got a caterpillar species that, by random chance, unguided mutations, is able to eat poison. A poison that this spider can't eat. And you got to tell me again, pretend, close your eyes, pretend like you got some Play-Doh in your hands. How do you do that? How do you create that? What kind of other material would you need? Yeah, just the metamorphosis of the egg caterpillar, then the pupa, and then the pupa, whatever it is, and then the butterfly. Dudes, the mutations needed for that, because inside the egg has the DNA for the butterfly, but it goes through, and when it's in the cocoon, it turns to mush. If anybody's accidentally squished a cocoon, there's nothing in there. It's just goo. But that's the reorganizing of the structure of that creature. So come again, man, we're going through a lot. So many on this one. Last couple weeks, we dealt with the beaver, just one little species. And what they did, this right here is just showing the whole system of all these different creatures. And again, look at this spider. And then we had that cave spider early on that looked like a crab. What kind of mutations? How do you do that? How do you get the DNA structure of one creature to switch by mistakes? Mutations are just mistakes. Sorry, guys. Then you have to have the positive mutations. And you're going through it, and it's like, so how do we get these legs to the size of that huge spider in the cave? Then where's the web? That guy doesn't have a web. He doesn't need a web, man. That guy can run down looks like he could run down us. Luckily, he's probably too small. All these things need mutations, guys. And I know somebody who has the faith that this happened by chance, said that, this is ridiculous babble. Go ahead. You are speaking, at least just don't say anything, because it shows your ignorance. That at least we can both agree, we can all agree that this is complex stuff. This is like crazy. This makes the space shuttle look like Play-Doh. This makes Elon Musk looks like a kid in the sand making a castle with his hands without any little sculpting tools. Come on, guys. You can at least admit that you have to have a lot of faith to believe this is random chance, unguided mutations. Dudes, come on. Worked on by natural selections. Not going to do it. Let's keep going. No takers. Or do I have to put the link out again? Joseph, what do you say? Well, I put the link again in case somebody wants to come on in.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I mean, this demands an answer from them. They can't say, well, we don't know, but, all the evidence points to evolution, because there you go, showing them evidence that specifically does not point to evolution, and they just want to hand wave it because it's not convenient for their arguments. There is no answer. DNA is prescriptive. It's going to tell the body and the organism what to do. There's no, nature is not a mind. The universe is not a mind. Nothing out there is just making this happen naturally, right? Because that's the way it is, and it's a complete accident. That's a faith statement. It's not a statement of fact.
Totally.
And so to say one, I don't have any faith is ridiculous. That's one of my favorite arguments to argue with these guys when they say they act like faith is a 4-letter word and only idiot theists have it. It's absolute nonsense, you know?
And so it reminds me of a scientist. He's a theist, and he was in a debate, and the guy says, "Well, my opponent here," and I think it was John Lennox, famous mathematician.
Love John Lennox.
So did you see that one? And it's a short now on YouTube where the opponent gets up. Well, John Lennox, raised in a Christian family, he obviously has been brainwashed, and they didn't, this paraphrase, brainwashed into believing there has to be a God. And then you see the smirk of John Lennox because he got up there, and these are clips. He's like, well, and this was he was debating, I think it was a Harvard professor, but it doesn't matter. He was a smart dude too, and said, well, now, what kind of home were you raised in? And the guy goes, atheistic. And so John Lennox, in his little quirky smiles, like, oh, so then at least I am honest in telling people how I was brought up, but you, who then are just doing the faith of your family as you were raised, don't seem the need to tell you're prejudiced. And the guy, what can you say? Because yeah, that's true. You have it, and we'll look, and I'll joke, is that, oh, the scientist, they're smarter people. If I have a cut on my finger, I'll go to a doctor. If I need something else, I'll go to another professional. So the scientists tell us that this spider, the caterpillar that digested the poison, other creatures, sea creatures, that they digest the poisonous little feed they do, and it pops out the poisonous, sort of, I think it's the anemone. It doesn't matter. So then if a fish tries to eat them, they're going to get stabbed with the creature's poison. It didn't get digested. It got incorporated into the little sea slug, I think it was. And it's like, come on, guys, the complexity there. And again, we had Richard Dawkins, who, said, well, yes, it's improbable steps, which in science terms means impossible, really, because of the chance of it happening, and all these minute steps that brought us, paraphrased again, from pond scum to the complexity on top of this mountain. And he said, because, that's less complicated. The impossibility that we see in nature without a creator is just less complicated, because if you talk about God, you have to say who created God. You're making more complexity, when in fact that was such an not well thought out argument, in that anything that created, and that's just a general statement, whatever we see the cause, the effect, whatever the cause was, can't be that effect. So what created the universe would have to be outside of the universe, outside time, space, and matter. Therefore, he doesn't have to he's eternal. He doesn't have a creator. He doesn't have a father or a creator above him. So Richard Dawkins' own argument, the barrel gets turned against himself, because that shows that this we're watching right now, and more science information we have, the soft tissue, I know you've talked about that a lot, Doc Hovind has talked about that a lot, is that the more we know, the more complexity's added. It's not simpler. Whether we look out into space, into the universe, or down into a microscope, it's more complex. It just shows that the creator is actually the best explanation, the easiest explanation, the simplest explanation for the evidence we have. But let's keep going. This is just so awesome. I just hope that one person out there that just wants to reject God because they got something they want to do. They want to be their own. They want to be their own God. They want to be I want to do it my way. They have some kind of sin that they can't get out of, that they don't want to fight. We as Christians have our sins. We're not perfect. But we have that struggle in us, like, no, I really don't want to do that. Why should I do that? That's not pleasing to my body. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for my friends. And that's all I can point it to is that, and so if you're sitting out there, if you ever hear this, you looking at this beautiful nature. Again, beauty, that's subjective. That is not a physical characteristic. You would have to say as an evolutionary person that it was some mutation that the chemistry then is switched that would make us find beauty, that would even see this. Anyway, I'm preaching to the choir, I know, with you, Gangster and Joseph, but let's see what else we got going on here. Just a beautiful place. And here we go. What's
inside the fly's body.
Joseph, have you seen these guys over on the east? Uh-oh, did I lose you? This is Cole, not the part I wanted to see.
Oh, there we go. I had my microphones muted. Hold on, like 1 second, but
yep.
All right, I'm sorry about that. I had my microphone muted, and then on the software, I had it muted too. I got caught up in that cycle. I didn't know which one to undo.
Oh, yeah. So have you seen the ones? Because there's some of these over on the East Coast, USA, right? Fireflies.
Yes, definitely. I'm an Indiana boy. I know all about those fireflies. Yep.
Man, something on my bucket list to see, because how incredible. Because the ones, I don't know about these, but the ones I've seen that they will turn on, and if there's some predator, something, they all turn off at the same time. It was weird. The ones I was one nature show I was watching.
Yeah, I was in the last time I was in Indiana, I was in a national.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say the last time I was in Indiana, I was actually in a national park, and it was pitch black, like no stars, no moonlight, absolute pitch blackness. But there were like, I don't know, you couldn't possibly count them, but it seemed like millions of those things in the sky, and it was like watching nowadays a drone production. You know how they do the drones and make it say things and make it look like flags or fireworks or robots or faces. I mean, I wasn't seeing any of that in the lights, but it was just an amazing dance that they were doing. Millions and millions of them. It was absolutely incredible.
But this is simpler, because we'll use the drone and they go, oh, well, that's man-made, so that we can't relate that to nature. And unfortunately, this is where the Bible novel prediction that man will be blinded, man will not want to see truth. And when you say, it's like, wait a minute, so you're telling me that it's not a good example of, say, like drone, or making the little night lights when you break the little chemicals just to have the glow sticks. And well, that's not a good example of nature, because nature is biotic, and it's like, that's harder.
Yeah, that's even harder. And like, you can see my picture. Well, they can't see the picture, but you can see it backstage, and that's exactly what this picture represents. It's like we're looking at something that Dynacore or Northrop Grumman or whatever, some robot cybernetic unit that they've built that they understand is 100% intelligently designed, and the model they're using to make that hand is 100% copied off of the human hand and tendons and ligaments and the way it moves and things like that. But they don't think the body was intelligently designed. It's unreal.
Well, again, it goes back to the novel prediction in the Bible, in the library of books, that man, the only way that we resemble animals is our free will to act like them. It's our free will to dumb ourselves down, because again, and we'll show it when we get on stage, is the robotics based on, and what does science do? And that's the funny thing, is like, oh, we need, if you're a creationist, you're not going to teach your kids about science. My son, I showed some of the stuff he does. It's like his little brain is totally, but it's a thing that he knows, whether he believes in his heart yet, but there's a God. He has the information of the universe inside of him. in his brain by the creator of the universe. There's a lot of stuff, and I won't say all of it, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff in his brain that he can tap into, not just some chemicals randomly processed put there. And so we as creationists, we were so much into our churches and fighting with each other over, that word in the fourth word in Genesis, or the millionth word here, there, and we're fighting over that. While meanwhile, our kids are seeing our bad example and being taught by other bad example humans that you're just an animal. There is no God. There is no creator designer, no matter what you see. And so yeah, we're taking the fight back to him, because it is time we take back the hearts and the souls of God's creation, his mightiest and his most loved creation, human beings. Let's see what we go.
It's thought that by displaying at the same time, males have a greater chance of attracting a female. Their mass effect rivals the brightest stars in the nighttime sky.
Check out the design in that. You have a cricket. How fast those guys, and I've seen videos and we'll probably show those. The springs in their legs are incredible. They split second. Those suckers, just a crazy speed in propulsion. This little guy on a different twig sees it, hears it. Now the thing is that then you have to know. The brain has to say how far to jump. Now, the little cricket, if he catches a little piece of twig or something as that tarsier is jumping at him, he's gone, and he'll probably just boom, launch out super warp speed. But the little tarsier has to know how fast, how far, how much muscle he needs to jump. Is it 6 inches away? That looked like farther, even though he's real small, so probably hard to judge. But that come on, guys. Joseph in the computer stuff, and yes, it's a bad example because we see the designer. We know the designers. Now, the incredible, less than smart thing is that to say that this tarsier didn't need a designer. Anyway.
Right. Is that the same as a sugar glider? That's what it looks like, but I've never heard the term tarsier before.
Yeah,
Are they
it's the Philippines. There's a few places in the world they have them. This one little island in the Philippines is the only place there, and it's a primate. So I
crazy.
don't
Look
know.
how, like, that's a good testament to how small they are. Look how big that grasshopper, that cricket looks. That thing looks huge, man. That's how small.
Do you know the older flip phones? That they're still small, but that guy's probably smaller than the old flip phone that would fit in the palm of your hand. Maybe about
That's
the same
crazy.
size. Incredibly small. A golf ball size.
Go on, buddy. Go on,
Yeah,
buddy.
maybe a little bigger than a golf ball. Definitely smaller than a tennis ball. It's just like craziness. But then again, those eyes, how does he see it? The ears. He's using the senses of eyes, ears, muscle. That's the nervous system that knows how much he has to jump over there. Come on, guys. I mean, I know I've been told that somebody had to leave because this is a bunch of nonsense speaking. Give me the mutations. Claude, look them up. You're trusting in those science experts, in your experts. That is kind of a fallacy. No, it is a fallacy. Like most other things I hear coming from that direction, it's not going on the evidence. I'm giving you evidence for an intelligent designer. Oh, well, those eyeballs might not be the perfect. Look at this. And then you're going to say, example, and this again was Dr. Richard Dawkins, who well, I don't know about now because he's older, but he was one of the 5 horsemen he was the high priest of evolution and atheism, out in your face, trying to win the battle of minds on evolution, atheism, theism. He's the one that said that Darwin, for the first time, made it plausible, and what did he call it? That it made it feel good. That you could feel good about yourself for being an atheist. I think he said fulfilled. But yeah, so you're listening to that guy telling you that this just happened. Where's the mutations? Where's the list of mutations? And we did. And Richard Dawkins, he was the great guy that said, and I hope I can find that video again. It showed him, I don't know if you saw that, Joseph. It showed him where before the Genome Project, the mapping of DNA, basically, he said, well, there's a lot of junk. It's 98% junk in the DNA. That proves godless evolution, because that's all the junk that was stored up. And then once the Genome Project came out, and that was miscategorized as what it really was, because they only mapped a little bit of the DNA, the coding part and proteins. And he came out after that. I was like, well, of course, there's a big percentage of DNA, because that, mice to men, we share that. And it's like, and with a straight face. But that boy was a rich boy. He had all those fools. Oh, here's the Pope of atheistic evolution. We're going to buy his books, even though they were. Okay. So,
well, they made it fashionable. They definitely made. Sorry, real quick though. Dawkins was militant, and he made it fashionable, and so was Hitchens. And but I quite enjoy Hitchens when he debates. I really do. I know he's not on my team, and I know he's snarky, but I enjoy his debates, especially with William Lane Craig and John Lennox. John Lennox absolutely spoke Hitchens. That was a great debate.
Well, one I had heard, and it. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that. I'm backstage. Who is Crazy Den? Please talk to me, Crazy Den.
Dan, what are you doing?
Oh, you goofy. You're goofy. Oh, I thought somebody new was coming on. No, Claude is just in the comments. Again, because if he comes on here, he's got to get off the evidence I'm presenting. He's going to say that, man, I have big eyebrows. He's going to have to say, oh, well, I didn't use any math this time, because I am about design. I didn't read any of the experts off of Google and make a messed up statement. It's all good. But Claude,
that's all right. We'll join his stream later. He put it in the chat that he's going to do a stream later. We'll just go join his stream.
Oh, I think I got to get a tooth pulled or something. Because if he can't do it here, and I've seen his, and they're cute. Some of them are very cute. But somebody, again, you look at I recommend go look at Claude Ball's channel. I'm not, this is not anything to do with perversion. Look just at his thumbnails on his videos. The boy has seems like one thing on the mind, and it is survival of the biggest. Anyway, let's get back to this. This is so cool. Let me put the link out again. If you guys see anybody in the back room, please tell me.
I don't,
because we're not hiding anything here. Joseph, you're out in public defending the faith, because saying this little tarsier was random chance, unguided mutations. And again, it still blows my mind that, oh yes, we're scientists, we follow the scientists. Like, okay, well, show me this list. And I've done this for like years. This was way before I was on live streams, and that's only been just a year. So and I'm not going to put a date, because somebody will look back and is like, oh, you're off a year, he's a liar, he's not. No, fallacious. You're not going to get a fallacious argument for this. So long time ago, I asked them, like, okay, I'm open, give me the list of mutations. Joseph, do you want to name a couple probably that also? Well, bacteria. Yeah, you can. They can
Yeah.
eat. Okay, bacteria. Okay, that little teeny simple thing. Okay, lactose tolerance. I like my milk. That's not going to get from pond scum to
Well, I
the
mean,
complexity we see. But the
a lot
other
of the
two, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, I'm sorry. No. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry.
The other two they use sickle cell anemia because that's a positive mutation because you're less likely to get malaria if you have sickle cell anemia. Now, two people with sickle cell anemia get together, you're either have dead offspring or they're not going to come out very good. Or the other one then, and I'll pass on the sickle cell anemia, is the HIV AIDS. That is a positive mutation. And you know why, Joseph? Is because if you have HIV AIDS, you're not as likely to get West Nile virus. Now, I'm just random question. Anybody and you guys any in the chat also, would you vote for getting West Nile virus or HIV AIDS? With really? I vote for West Nile virus. I'm sorry. You can
Right.
keep
They're coming in
your
afterwards
positive
and trying to act
mutation.
like right. They're coming in afterwards and trying to act like that's something that it's not. And like, here's one for the Hovind fans. I mean, what Doc says is silly, but it's 100% accurate. That argument is like saying, well, if you cut off both of your feet, you'll never get athlete's foot.
Love
You
it.
know, it doesn't translate to what you're saying. It's just because you can spin it or put a silver lining on it doesn't necessitate that it was a positive thing, right? It just because you're looking at the ends, right? During it that shows even if that were the case for them, that means that there was a process designed to go that way, right? It's not just in a vacuum. It didn't just happen accidentally, and this whole thing didn't just happen accidentally. I think they should. I don't know. I think they should argue their faith. I think they should get up here and explain exactly what it is. Did you see that clip with William Lane Craig? And I can't remember who he was speaking with, but he brought up 5 things that science can't prove, right?
Oh,
And one of them, believe it or not, is science itself, right?
yes.
You have to presuppose the maths and the experiments, and you have to presuppose all these things. So science couldn't even empirically prove itself. It's all a faith. It's all a belief system. And that's what atheists don't like, is that they've built up this worldview. And in their worldview, it doesn't matter how silly evolution sounds or becomes. It's the only game in town unless you're going to roll with the creator, because there is no third option.
And again, I think that the same one, or it was Frank Turek, who had said that, besides the fact, and could have been any of those guys, is that you're presupposing that this random chance mutated bunch of chemicals in your brain are actually trusted. You're going to trust your math because why? Random chance, unguided processes, mutations worked on by natural selection, and I'm gonna dudes, really, I'm pleading. And that's why, Joseph, I know that's why you're here. I mean, you confess being here because of that. That's how, I confess being here, Dr. Hovind, because we're the smart guys in the room. And that's why I say it's like, Joseph, you've got 10 doctorates. I have 15. Doc has 25 of them, because I want, when I'm looking, being funny, but when I see Dr. Hovind debating these people and they're calling him, oh, Doc's an idiot, he doesn't do this, it's like he's squashing you with just basic evidence. I recommend to him, pretend he's got 100 doctorates, and then that way, at least when you look like you're an idiot, it's like, well, that's because he's a smart guy. No, you're being smashed by somebody you think's a dumb guy. Oh, and that's
Right.
again.
And most of the people who complain about those things don't have doctorates themselves. But their whole argument is he ought not be speaking on this because he's not qualified. But they spend their every minute online arguing these same things without the same degree that they're mad at him for not having. It's comical, man. It's absolutely comical. And most of the arguments against intelligent design or creationism, or even God for that matter, are just criticisms. and criticism does not equal refutation, right? It doesn't. You're not liking it, or your criticism of it doesn't make it not true, and that's another fallacy they fall into, right? Well,
Totally.
I don't like that the anus is really close to my genitalia. That's an awful design. Well, like that's your criticism, but that's not an evidence. That's not a proof.
Well, and actually, and again, but Joseph, to hit that home, what do we have in our car? What is the height of divine design we have right now is air conditioner, heater at the same place.
Right.
It is the cell phone. The cell phone. Oh, I'm not seeing it. I was putting my cell phone up. Cell phone. I have a camera. I have a computer. I have access to the internet. I can make a phone call off of this thing. Get messages. What a bad design having all those things together. Come on, guys. And then here, I am a prophet. I'm going to say that. No, I'm joking, but because it's kind of obvious. When I said we have atheists that won't come and debate what we're looking at, the argument that's being proposed, the evidence for a creator. I said they'd probably use fallacious arguments. Did I not, Joseph? Check this one out if you can see on your screen. Oh, let's do this. I have that fun stuff. Oh, look at that. I look like a tech guy.
Oh,
here it comes. Be thankful for vaccines against those diseases. What? So more intelligently designed vaccines, you're given, it's a fallacious argument to say that this is not designed, whatever. No, that's a fallacious argument. It means you have no argument against this. Man, you look at my, and again, I keep seeing that people might see I'm showing that little cute Tarshish instead. I've been vaccinated. But then again, you look at politics right now. We have a guy, and I haven't seen yet, that was head of our top of the world, the federal United States disease control, who's probably looking for immunity for what the crimes he has done. And we saw just the lies come out to manipulate people. So again, you've got people using an argument that has nothing to do with what I posed today, the wondrous creation. But no, I get a fallacious argument. I get an argument that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, except for something that is incredibly designed. And yes, where is it? We'll have one more. Look at that. Uh-oh. What is it doing? Creationism. God. One. The evolutionists. Losers. Okay. Bring them on. Come on, guys. We're here. Give me
Dan.
evidence. Go ahead.
Dan. BRB. I got to put my dogs out. I'll be right back.
Very good. We'll keep on this. I'm almost done with this video. Yes, sir.
Hi.
Let me finish this, and then we'll put you up there. Everybody's got to see this. GG, you're the best. Okay, last part of this. Philippines. Creature.
Or ankle bones, which work like shock absorbers. They help it to jump quickly and land quietly.
Another one. He calls it shock absorbers. Okay, that's what they are. But how long did it take? If you guys know the history of vehicles, the earlier cars were not very comfortable. That had to be designed in. It took engineering. Not easy to do. My dad always there's our coastal roads up California coast. Some of them are like monster slopes back in the day. They still are. Very tough grades to get up, and you used to have to really drive fast in your Model T to get up the hill before. And if you can imagine the gas tank in the back, it was gravity fed. You wouldn't make it, even going fast. So you'd have to turn around backwards and back up a hill, so that the gas would still keep coming. And my dad made a little gas cap, put a air pressure gauge on it, and he'd pump his gas tank full of air, and he could drive up straight. And again, some guy who didn't make it through high school, just an immigrant's kid, the thought power behind that, incredible. But come on, guys, come on. Let's continue this.
As it holds the crickets of mystery.
Well, Gigi, let's get rid of that. All right, guys. Comments, questions. Gigi, go to it.
Yeah, Dan.
What did you think? Which was your favorite creature?
The beaver.
That was last week. Today.
Oh, the beaver.
You're awesome. We got to have a little bit of I was reading a comment that said hilarious. Anyway, we have to have the comedy. And since it would be funny, it would be really hilarious to hear the atheist community squirm and squeal, getting off the topic of these little creatures, and I go, well, the human eyes, they're designed badly. Not to mention the other billion creatures that are like perfectly, that awesome design. And again, as a designer, listen closely again. You've got to know the purpose of the design. You've got to know what the designer was thinking. You can't look at it and say, we as designers, you look at murals, at pictures, at paintings. They'll put layers on. You can actually scratch off because you didn't like that, so they covered that part up. It's still under there. You might have a beautiful picture of something, but the designer, creator, artist didn't like it, so they covered that one up. I don't like that. I'm going to cover that one up with more paint. And then the finished picture, you don't know what was going through that intelligently designed piece of art. And so you're looking at creation, which is totally beyond anything imaginable. Again, guys, look at anything in nature and say, how do I recreate that? How do I tear it apart and see how it was put together? And you will see that it's beyond your brain. Yes, sir.
Oh, you serious?
I'm serious. I'm as serious as a heartbeat.
Oh, what about? God, you could do. Oh, what if evolution true? Why are there still clouds?
Well, no, and see, so don't say that, because that's evidence in brainless evolution. Gigi, you're not helping my cause because yes, humans act like they're animals, and it's not. And I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you that you don't seem as intelligent as a little tarsier, because you've got this thing called sin in your life. And now I'll be serious, because I know how you feel. I was there. I keep telling you that. And you go, oh, but yeah, you were, no, I wasn't raised. I wasn't popped into existence believing in the Bible. I didn't even know it. And so, but when you are so in darkness, that's why I'm here again. That's why Joseph is here. Is
Amen.
Because we've been in that darkness. And even though we sin still, even though we fall into sin, we know the joy in our hearts, the feeling of God dwelling inside of you.
Oh, that,
Dude, you can have it. At least try it. Don't sit there and go, "Oh, the eye was." You can't even design a paper bag halfway good compared to an eye. And it's like, "Oh, but it's a bad design."
so,
Ah,
you, so you say they can't design their way out of a paper bag?
I don't think they can. Some people,
Oh,
I know some very smart people that can't design a paper bag, let alone get out of it.
what about Joseph? He's a tech.
Joseph, I've seen some of the problems at DAL, and he did pretty great work over there. And
Yeah,
that's somebody who didn't know it coming in. So, the incredible learning curve that we have, and then you're going to think, well, it's just instinct with a
Right.
little tarsier could judge the distance in the dark to grab some kind of little insect, which to him was very big. And again, the range, if you're going to be, the height of Olympics and you're going to do a pole vault or you're going to jump the hurdles, it takes quite a lot of creative
well,
designing practice. And we saw with the beaver, they come out swimming. This little thing like this, that if no, come on, guys. Anyway, we'll have fun with this because and I'm really actually then on the negative, it's like I'm showing all this stuff is just gonna make you look stupider on the day of judgment. Because you're like, yeah, well, my Dr. Dawkins, he said it was impossible. He said it would no, there you're not gonna get that excuse because he's a sinful human being who saw and wants and
to take
believes in
over.
atheism. So,
Oh,
Ruben,
Dan,
come on. And
Dan, I have a question. You ever heard of this thing called? I heard about. I think I heard a lot of them in Britain. The First Church of Atheism.
yeah, it's a mockery of God. Because
Well, I think it
again,
started that way, but now they're actually getting fellowship out of it. They pass around a plate. They have services. I mean, they do the whole deal, man. I think it started off as a joke, as a mockery, but they've realized that um, well, they are atheists, so they could just realize that they've found a good way to make money off of people, right?
no,
And
no,
and
no,
for
they're part of a herd. They
yeah,
gotta figure out ways to get together so that us Christians, aren't gonna devour them. But again, even no matter what the reason is, your chemistry in your brain is so diluted to think that your purpose in life is to prove us wrong. Fail.
How
Old time fail.
about Claude?
Um, he shows by his you saw it and I showed it where we're talking about the awesome creatures and environment on these two small islands. They're probably the size of LA, and maybe even smaller. This counties of LA or New York, and the diversity, the complexity, the appearance of design. And just two little small places in the Philippines, and the rest, I mean, and that's just a little part you saw in the beginning. If you see the video of the Philippines islands that we showed, just a speck on the Earth's land mass. Just craziness. And so again, I showcased our friend Claude, who instead of, and I've offered him, he just says, well, I can't get in onto the science stuff because I'm not a scientist. But he's out in the comments going, but what about vaccines? Like, are you a medical specialist scientist too? Why are you commenting on that? Um, come on, now, Claude. And we pray for our atheist friends, Gigi, and we just want them to have the hope of eternity, a purpose in life, not a vain. And then you'll see them twist it. Vanity. Let's look up Does anybody know the definition of vanity?
It ultimately meaningless, nothingness.
I love my. It's Google though. I got chastised for a half an hour. I spelled it wrong. I'm getting a lot of syncs here. Oh well, let's get out of there. That'll take a while. Not wise to do on live TV. So anyway, Gigi, anything more out of you?
Oh, how you been today?
I was awesome. I got to sleep in more because and here's a little advertisement. Pastor Jay does an awesome proverb of the day live at 8:45 a.m. Eastern time. And let's see what we got here. And he's doing the proverb, but today
Number 2.
Can you make that bigger? Or I can probably expand. But anyway, Pastor Jay recorded it today. I made it bigger. So, vain, producing no result, useless. Okay, and we know that word so well because of the Song of Solomon, where here a guy who the height of what we would say as worldly power, worldly, as the king of a nation, he had riches beyond his use and need, and at the end of his life, it was vanity of vanity. What good is this? He saw all of his work that he did going and would go to people who were not wise, were not disciplined. And we look at that, and that's exactly what we see in the world today. So we got who's the most known person in World War II? I mean, if you had over the planet, who's that?
Joseph the Tech guy.
I don't think it was a lot around in World War II, but worldwide,
probably MacArthur, or if it wasn't Hitler, right? It had to be Churchill or MacArthur.
I'd say Hitler because Churchill, yeah, he was cool. Roosevelt, Truman, cool. The Japanese dudes, God leader, cool. But Adolf Hitler would be up there, and that is what we're going to see in history. How vain is that? A guy that destroyed, devastated, a real mean guy. But he thought he was probably pretty good. And if he would have won, if he would have gotten the nuclear weapon before the United States did, he would have kept going. He would have taken out Japan because I don't think they looked very Aryan, but they were useful at the time. If the Asians had gotten it first, I saw a documentary. Don't know it for sure. It was Google experts, so don't hold me on this. But there was jet technology coming into existence in other places. If those countries would have done it, they would have kept going. Japanese weren't too fond of white folks either. So that would have come to a battle. And then whoever came out of that in battle, whoever would have, if Hitler, Japan got the nuclear weapon before the United States, the good morals, the legal, the best way to be would be everybody would have little mustaches if it was Germany, because it would have been Hitler's morality. Because we know as the evolutionist will say, is that our morals, right and wrong, are based on these random chance mutations, making the chemicals in our brains, and then by our cultures, by our upbringing, that is going to be the cultures, and then whoever rules the world, it's going to be the ruler's morals. So that in itself, guys, look into your own heart. Is there a reason you don't want to do real bad stuff? And I won't name it because I get in trouble for actually just repeating what goes on in the news. Why didn't everybody do that? Why is it so rare that we have people doing really evil things? It's because there's something inside of the human being. Now, if you're going, well, I got it right now, people. If there is no God, and I was like, if there is no God, there's no absolute right and wrong. Dudes, eat, drink, be merry, do what you want, because there are rich people ruling this planet, like it or not, that aren't having sore backs. They aren't going out doing heavy labor unless they want to, because they're rich. They can do what they want. But mostly using people underneath them. And if this is the only value you have on earth is what is in these years, dude, unless you're up there, your life was worthless. Oh well, my and my people, my aunt, whoever, my kids, like, so what? Your kids are going to be smashed by people up above, the richer, the powerful. They don't care. So, your life is worthless, because in even uh-oh, do I trust this person?
You
Let's
want
get
me
into
to
some lightheartedness. Thank you, Gigi. Here we
you
go.
wanted me to show you that video the other day.
Yeah, right in the middle of my thought. Okay. No,
Sorry
very
about
good. No, I'm teasing you.
Here's you as a baby dancing.
Who is that?
That's you.
Oh my goodness. Now that
Dancing.
looks like somebody that will rule the world.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Joseph?
I think it's hilarious.
He's jealous.
He's dancing in the Matrix.
He's got so.
The only thing is only if there's a heaven will I be able to dance that well, because this boy does not dance. The only time I think of really dancing and being joyous is thinking of people who are trusting in the Lord and Savior, who have an eternal destiny, purpose, that have crossed over and will be just in total worship and song before our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And anybody out there
Amen.
that's new, and you sure might not have heard it before, but this Jesus Christ guy claimed to be God. And I will not be original, but he confessed to be God. And there's so many people out there go like, yeah, he lived and he was probably a good guy. No, it's pretty.
Well, they can't have it both ways, right? You can't say, well, he was probably a good guy, because either he is who he says he was, or he's a psychopathic maniac, right? Like, you can't, they're not allowed to have it both ways. You can't say, oh, he was a good guy, but he was an absolute psycho because he was over here claiming to walk on water, claiming to heal people, claiming to be the son of God. They're not allowed to have it both ways. That's faulty.
Now then, too, though, with our now being on the devil's advocate on evolution, and we'll say it's like, okay, you're talking about he'd have to be a psychopath if he's really thinking about I'm God, but look at how many followers. If he would have survived and he was a psychopath, man, look what he could have done for himself. And you look at that and it's like, well, is it, we're humans are said we're just tribal, we are a herd. We're like a den in the evolutionary deep time processes. And what's the head of the tribe? Head of the flock, the head of the herd. It's the big dude on top, the one that nobody else is gonna like mess with. That's the supreme pinnacle in groups?
The alpha.
The alpha. And
The alpha
so
and the omega. Yes, sir.
what limits so many people who believe there's no God? It's because they're saying that they have this morality in their head that is keeping them from being the psychopath. But if you look at a psychopath, analyze a psychopath, again, people, no God here. Who's the alpha type person? The psychopath. The guy who has evolved, then I would give the thing is he's actually evolved beyond the herd into the extreme alpha. He doesn't care who he hurts. He's just going to put his genetics, and that is going to be the best. And that's the only way they say that the mutations can get one species, because it's always. Joseph, if you heard that one, please. Anybody out there that's an evolutionist, this is an honest question. I've heard that, and you probably know the term, Joseph, is that they say that like humans cannot evolve into something else. That within the stasis of the species, it stays.
Monophily, the
Thank you.
argument of, yeah.
I think that's it. And I'm going with it, even if it's not, I'll blame you. But yeah, the monophily, that the species is going to stay the species.
Right.
Correct.
And that's what shows that it's a little double-sided, right?
Well, no,
Because
that's where my mind, because I love to figure stuff out. I love the design aspect, and that one I'm not catching, because I can see the other things. How I could,
well, what they're saying is like a turtle will never become something else. Like a fish didn't become an amphibian, right? Slow changes created an amphibian from what was a fish-like ancestor. See, they know better than to make the actual connection between the two animals because they know how silly it sounds. So that's why they rely heavily on these unfounded missing links.
Yeah, and that's then is that why the tree, the evolution and Darwinistic tree, you don't have anything at the nodes, node being the joint to where branches
Correct.
come together, that there's always these guys out here, but everything's missing down here. And because, yeah, say that again.
Monophily.
Monophily. So that there's
pH phily.
humans,
Yep.
humans are not going to be able to involve. Then how did we get here? I can figure out how to get a trilobite. We know, and not specifically, because I'd have to have somebody smart to go, okay, what DNA would produce compound eyes? What things would produce? And now we're not anywhere close to it, but I know the design, just like what's his face artist could design a helicopter before he had the material. I can design that because anybody with any intelligence would know you need the body part. That's part of the DNA. We don't know which part, where, but if you found that and we're able to reproduce it, like abiogenesis is doing with the prebiotic, which is a failure too. So anyway, but we know that. But when you're talking that, trying that we can't evolve, we had to evolve from a common ancestor that's not around anymore. Then how did that common ancestor change? Because that would have been some kind of species. Does that make sense to you, Joseph?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And like, I kind of use this a little bit, and I had a video about it before my channel got clipped, but it was about taxonomically restricted genes. They call them orphan genes. And the reason they call them orphan is because they are taxonomically restricted. Box turtles have genes that are only found in a box turtle.
Mhm.
They didn't come from any other animal. They won't go into any other animal. It's only found there. And their only excuse for that is, well, it must have popped up de novo. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. There was nothing, it didn't come from anywhere else, right? So I can understand your argument to be de novo, but what started them in the box turtle if there was no box turtle genes because they hadn't evolved yet? It seems like another staple of like, there's little God's signature, right? Or God's little signature right there. It's like, hey, it doesn't matter how much you map out and how much you figure, this amphibian is never going to be anything other than an amphibian. Give it all the years that you can imagine. It doesn't matter.
Totally. And then, so I see a designer show coming up featuring my friend Joseph on that subject, because that is really something that's interesting to me. Because as you can see too, like where you can probably design computers. You get the parts. I mean, anybody could do it with training. I mean, you look it up.
I'd watch it. It'd take me 5 hours to watch a 20-minute YouTube video. I would go step by step.
Yes, but still, it's doable. And if you look at that, biological entities are no different. They are, you can see, appear like they've been designed because you can actually see, the DNA. Now, again, like with your examples, or the one I love is the platypus. We'll have to get to that pretty soon, is because you've got so many, you have to make, you can't, because you've got all these, the tree coming up, and you've got the platypus mammal, all characteristics of, poison, which is not from him, the web feet thing, the laying eggs, but also nursing. So where does he fit on that tree, though? They kind of put him kind of like, oh, let's throw him there and pretend like nobody understands it. Where did all those things come from? Each one of those has to be a set. Those are systems. They have to be a set. So you're going to say, well, the precursor to him was, something that had the genetics in it.
No,
No,
right there, Dan, I don't mean to cut you off, but what you said just reminded me. I've heard somebody say one time that God doesn't create things, he creates systems. The universe, the solar system, our whole internal systems, all right, our nervous system and things like this. Like he creates systems, not things. So it's like the mousetrap. You need irreducible complexity. You need all 5 parts in that system already there working. They couldn't come along one at a time. It doesn't work.
Totally. And again, I just shout out to our friend Chuck. I dreamt last night I became a psychopath while watching Designer Dan. You are hysterically funny. He came from the same time period, long, far away time period. And I enjoy your humor, Chuck. Again, I would like to see and learn from. I know you have wisdom. I heard some real cool shows on your theology. Don't agree with it, of course, since nobody agrees with everybody. But I'd really like to see you actually try to teach us from the wisdom I know you have, because I saw it. And just do a little bit less of the funny humor that probably only you and I get. The burning cat running around and we Chuck had said how he has a hard time dealing with that kind of emotional anguish, and it comes out like nervous, like grinning. It's a defense of mechanism. Again, another system is that you're so upset thinking that people would burn a cat alive. And there's defense mechanisms. Somebody might just like go and try to kill those people. They have the fight. And other people are just so emotional about that. We'll just like, wow, look at that cloud up there. Isn't that funny? Trying to divert from the pain that we feel and the disgust and all these negative emotions that, again, how could that evolve?
So where does Gigi stand on this? Is he
Gigi.
intelligent design or is he evolution but a creator? Where does Gigi stand on this?
Gigi, you're on the spot.
I don't know. Yeah.
You're still studying. You think, I mean, you've said before that you believe in God. But yeah, there's some people that believe that evolution did it. So where do you stand on that, Gigi? Not to put any, you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I don't know.
Well, that's fair enough. I didn't know. I have never heard you opine on it or give an opinion on it. I just wanted to ask. That's all right.
I don't know. But Joseph, the tech guy. What if you did run into a dinosaur? What would you do?
Play dead?
Well, I mean, it depends on how big it was.
Well,
It might
Yeah.
die.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
tech
If it
guy.
was a baby, if it was about 6 inches long, I'd pick it up and bring it home and put it in a cage.
But no,
But yeah,
Joseph, tech guy. Even if it was the size of a horse, he would rip it apart with his bare hand.
oh, he'd write on it just like this.
Okay.
I don't have I don't have bare hands. I have human hands.
Well,
Yeah, but they work better than bare hands. So this is what, and he's already done it. So you didn't even have to ask. If it's horse size, he'd jump on it. And wouldn't that make a good gladiator game? I don't care what kind of pole that other guy has. You got this thing running at the horse.
If it's got wheels, I can drive it. If it's got legs, I can ride it.
Amen on that one. So, Chuck, Dan, what came first, the platy or the pus? It's according if you got an injury or not. Has Chuck been locked away somewhere in a nice, happy rubber room and somebody took his account? Eric, I'm going to give the link. Come on in. Show your face. I want to make sure you're safe in there. Because this sounds more like a Claude. Let's see here. This looks like somebody that went pervertedville. Okay, and then Robin, sorry. Oh man. Howdy, Robin. And you had a question, I think, or a statement. I always appreciate whatever they are. So, what about emus or the dodo bird? Okay, emus are awesome. And then actually, I would put them up to the ostrich because that's even like more crazy looking. And yeah, again, Robin, you're sounding like a creationist here, because yeah, you look at the features on those, you look the systems on any of those guys, and you look at the brain size. I showed the bird nest, the little teeny hummingbird bird nest, and other nests. We got the eagle nest. The other day, I'll have to do this because hopefully I'll get this job. On the job, there's 3 wood rat nests that looks like a beaver nest that's inside a bush, just sticks and twigs, and just incredible. They used to use in the Depression. My dad would used to carefully harvest the manure in it and would be able to sell it to the nurseries in San Francisco back in the 30s. Who
dang.
said it was awesome fertilizer. Yeah, GG, do you want me to collect you some and ship it
dang.
off to me?
You can send it to Aiden.
Josh. Josh
What?
has his garden. I could send it to Josh. Josh
What?
has,
Dan, what would you do if you did take over the world?
well, if I took over the world, it would probably be Dan went bad, so you wouldn't have,
No.
because in my state right now, I don't want the world, because it's just, people are not nice. People do act like animals. People is the best evidence for evolution, because, but again, is that just the, psychology in it that you're teaching that, now I think it's straight back to the novel prediction in the Bible that human beings, there's no goodness in us. Again, define goodness. I mean, I love Robin, great conversations. She's good for, information. I love, the relationship that way, but I've seen her. If she gets crossed, there's hell to pay. I would imagine in her mind, she's seeing her milk truck full of milk, which is going to be, and I won't say a number, but you can tell us, Robin, there's thousands of gallons in there, times 8, plus the truck weight, which has to be a lot. And I could just see that, though, bearing down on me, and it's like, uh-oh, I made Robin real mad. Anyway, joking.
Well, I saw your guys' show from earlier. It was a good show.
I think so, and he did it right when I was at church, sorry. I was at church, and we know, and it's on Mormonism, so go check it out.
What is next one after that be about Jehovah's Witnesses?
Maybe, but I hope we do more on these, because, again, it's people claiming to be, it would be claiming to be Christian, and it's real funny because our people who don't believe in a God, they're going, oh, you just say they're not Christian, you're judging, but at the same time they say Hitler was a Christian, and because of that, Christians are bad because look at Hitler, and it's like, yeah, no, that wasn't Christian. Chuck, answer me. Do you think he was even a good person, let alone a real true follower of Jesus Christ? I think not. Chuck, again, come on. I'm gonna, just for you, invite a guest. Be my guest. Be my guest. Okay, copy that. Copy that. I don't have to tell you guys that, but it's just so much fun being able. Uh-oh. I guess that wasn't good. But Chuck, come on in.
What about Joseph the Smith? Are you Joseph Smith?
No, sir. No, sir. No, no golden plates with special words only I can read, and none of that.
Okay, that's good. Are you sure?
Okay. So if Dan took over the world, the entire population would become psychopaths. Wrong. As ruler of the world, those are the people I'm taking out. It's the people that the betas that are going to go, sure, Dan, you want me to go do whatever. Look at Hitler. He had so many people that actually put other human beings in gas ovens. Those were not alphas. Those were followers. And so, yeah, we got it planned. Chuck, you and I, we take over the world. We got to get rid of the alphas. Anyway, but again, I know, Chuck, you, and just from knowing you this last year, that's the last thing you want to do is to have to rule a bunch of people. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's get back up there. Okay. And sorry, Robin, I can't find your comments. Missing Mod, yours also. Robin, Dan should be an expert on dodos. I thought, as soon as I saw the comment about the dodos, it's like, oh, I think that's one of Chuck's relatives. Let's, no, I was teasing. I was thinking of myself. Anyway, scrolling along, wrong way.
Oh, look at Joseph. He's designing a next universe.
Yeah, Joseph, what is that?
It's like it came up when I was doing AI pictures. Underneath it is another picture of Newton. I told AI to give me a portrait of Newton with his work in the background, and they give me that picture with a AI picture of Newton underneath it. It didn't really work out like I wanted, but
Newton's.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him? I was hoping he was... Uh-oh. Robin, I think you missed some typing. Oh, that was disgusting.
What happened?
We've had enough of that. Well, he dropped out, and then my picture, because I was reading the comment, and my picture came about. How do I do that? Let's see.
Oh, he's back.
Uh-oh. Just a minute. Cancel that. Oh, that's how I do it. There, that looks better. I might get might get more people come in now. Okay. The ones that just passed by, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hideous. Let's watch
Hey,
emu
real quick though,
video.
Dan. Real quick, Dan. You were talking about psychopaths earlier, and you were talking about Hitler being viewed as a good Christian earlier. Did you guys check out when Matt Powell did that video on Jim Jones and his whole
Oh,
cult?
totally.
Yeah, and so they have FBI tapes, hidden wiretaps of him admitting that he's a full-on atheist, and all his bishops know he's a full-on atheist, and things like this. And this is public knowledge. This is on, you know what I mean? It's out there. People know this, and atheists will still be like, "Yeah, join a Christian cult like Jim Jones and all this stuff." I mean, it's absolutely amazing how they just go off of emotions constantly. And then another thing that you were talking about earlier that I would say is, which dog grows, right? And it's the one you feed. So when these guys hit the midpoint of their life or earlier, they've already had decades of suppressing the truth to give into their lust because they want to do these things and they don't want anybody over them telling them, no, you ought not do that. You're not the boss of me. I can do what I want. And this is such a good show. These last hour or so, anyways, that we've touched a lot of topics that they will run from, and they will just throw names and call you ignorant. And they don't want to touch these topics because they have no legs to stand on.
Exactly. And here's another, doesn't look like it's coming out of a rogue scholar. But anyway, Dan wouldn't have a clue about science. Okay. Let's unpack that, because that's a statement. Dan, that would be me, wouldn't have a clue about science. Now, wow, I've got a degree in science. So, Claude, what degree do you have? And we'll leave it at that. And that's just a rhetorical question, because, again, this is fallacious argument. It means, Claude, and I know, and I'm not going to joke because you don't know English. I mean, you know better English than I do, but English doesn't sound like it's your first language. Science is just information collected and gained, or scientific information. And so many times I'll hear out of the community, oh, you got to trust the scientist. What do you mean you got to trust those people who are gaining knowledge by experience, observation, and testing? Dr. Richard Dawkins. Darwin, for the first time, made it intellectually fulfilling to be an atheist. I remembered the quote. You're trusting that guy, that he's not biased. Now, Joseph, if I told you that, let's see, if eating those little wormy things that they said were clams or something, if that made you Superman, and would you believe me? No, that's an opinion. That's, even
Correct.
though it is told, that's why they're doing it. Or the little bird nest thing. I think actually it was the bird nest thing. The bird nest made out of spittle. That they said will give you superpowers, healing, all this stuff. Why do we have a declining population in elephants? Because there's a lot of starving people, and just think of all that meat they're getting. No, they're cutting off the ivory, parts of different big cats, of different things, different organs. People have fallen for the thing that they have superpowers in them. And right now, what's our modern day? And I know, and I hope, Claude, you'd say, oh, those people are just foolish. But then you come out and say that science, you've got to trust the scientist. When one of your big, and one of the times I got in trouble is when I said that Dr. Richard Dawkins was a scumbag, which he is, known in the community, but I said that the reason he was for a different reason. I misspoke on what reason he's a scumbag.
Well, I find it curious that Claude goes against Kent Hovind for certain things that absolutely have nothing to do with him, but he completely overlooks and even defends Dawkins, and Dawkins is quoted as saying that he don't think there's anything wrong with a little mild pedophilia. That's interesting to me.
Mm.
Very interesting
Uh-oh.
to me.
Uh-oh.
And when
Get that quote, because he will do a video. If you get a
I don't
quote.
care if he does it. All he's got to do is look it up. It is a fact. I don't lie.
No, I want you to get that fact. He will do a hit video on Dr. Dawkins, because Claude says that's absolutely immoral, and which we will agree on. That is absolutely immoral. Please find that, Joseph, so we can supply it to Claude, because
Sure.
Claude is intellectually honest, he says.
And one more thing about that touches on tonight's topic is Robin says, "I trust science, not the scientists," and that sounds like a John Lennox quote, right? John Lennox that you were talking about earlier is quoted as saying, "A statement from a scientist is not exactly a statement of science." And I think that's what a lot, like you were saying earlier, that's why a lot of these people just want to believe Dawkins, because he is a scientist, but he's not given scientific data or evidence. He's just spouting his opinion. There probably is no God, so go live your life. Oh, he's a genius.
Well, and that is the problem, and that's why I love communicating and discussing with people that I disagree with, but we can have those discussions instead of like this one I'm highlighting. And the reason I'm keeping it highlighted is that is a clueless statement that I have highlighted. And so you look at it, and you look at, then let's look at that statement. Sorry, I don't have it there to put up on the screen, but that you don't trust the scientist. You say that again?
John Lennox's quote?
No, it was Robin's quote.
Robin said, "I trust science, not scientists." And it reminded me of that. That's exactly the way we should be. Then that's what John Lennox was talking about. A statement of a scientist is not exactly a statement of science. So,
Okay, and then and so I trust science, not scientist. But
I found that quote though.
Oh, did you?
I am very conscious that you can't condemn people of an earlier era by the standards of ours, just as we don't look back on the 18th and 19th centuries and condemn people for racism in the same way as we would condemn a modern person for racism. I look back a few decades to my childhood and see things like caning, like mild pedophilia, and I can't find it in me to condemn it by the same standards as I or anyone would today.
Now,
So,
he's not
what he's saying is that it was okay to be a mild pedophile back in the day because we have better standards now. We have better morals going right now. And that's absolutely ridiculous. This is what people who don't believe in an absolute moral barometer have to say. They have to say this because otherwise it's absolutely wrong. And then if it is absolutely wrong, who created that standard? And they hate
and you
that
post.
because they need morality to be subjective in order to justify what they want to do.
Robin says she's backstage. I do not see you. Let me see. Maybe it, and hopefully you're not on your cell phone. I will apologize in advance. Actually, I have no clue in what, but we have problem. That's why my friend Jason doesn't come on much. My other friend that you guys have met, Len, because this Eve Mux and cell phones have issues. But let me do the invite again. And hopefully, because wow, it's rare that I haven't talked to Robin forever. Yes, that's hyperbole or exaggeration. Please don't quote me on it. But yeah, so I trust science, not scientists. Yeah, I hope she can come on to explain that, because science is the information, but scientists are they who gather that information. And here we go. And I'd give you there we go. I was going to give you a drum roll to come on in, but I didn't want to lose you. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I didn't know what. I don't know what this is different. I'm on my laptop though. I'm at
Oh,
home.
good.
I'm at home tonight. I'm not working. So
Oh, very cool. And how do you like the new place?
I love my new house. Yeah, I love it. It's not new,
Oh,
but it's new to me. But yeah,
congratulations.
it's got a lot of. It had the basement leaks. A lot of water down there, like around the walls. I've got to get that sealed up. So I've got dehumidifiers running everywhere to keep the
What?
dehumidifiers.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like some kind of virus. I was like, wait a minute, I got to check my hearing here.
Got a
You know
lot.
what?
There's a lot. It's really wet here right now. It's rained a lot and snowed and it's melting and so
There you go. And now is that Tennessee or Kentucky?
Kentucky.
See, That's
I go to
awesome.
I go to Tennessee though. That's where I take my milk.
Okay,
That's
that's where
probably
it
why I'm thinking of
probably
that.
rang inside the brain. Um, so
I'm,
I
I'm
saw
glad
you
you're away
need.
from the. I'm glad you're away from the fires. And my daughter, she lives out there in California too. So I'm glad she's away from the fires.
That's right. You said she's like Santa Cruz or up
Yeah, Santa Cruz.
central.
Yeah,
Man, I'm gonna go play the lottery or something. It's that's kind of lucky that I can remember that much stuff.
you've been
Now with your
taking your ginkgo
basement.
biloba, whatever it is, that ginkgo biloba. Remember that stuff that's supposed to help your
Oh
memory.
yeah,
You've been taking your ginkgo biloba.
that is awesome. That fruit though is the smelliest stuff. If you want, if you think like rotten egg, the ginkgo biloba seed is putrid.
Ew.
I should I should put it in containers because I could make $1 million. Because if you open that some of that in your truck, well, you wouldn't want to do it in your truck, but
What kind of plant is it? Is it a tree?
it is a tree. It's a cool
Yeah.
tree, because they thought it was extinct. It is half okay. So there's the two kind of plants. You have the broadleaf things, the leaf type of plants, and then you have the grassy type of plants like palm trees. It's half and half. It's got characteristics of a tree with the leaves, but the veins in the leaves are parallel instead of like the hand shape like a normal leaf.
Mm-hmm.
But it has annual rings, and that shows a tree type, a plant type, not a grass type. Yeah, so it's kind of both. Really a cool and a beautiful tree. In the autumn, it'll have this beautiful golden leaves to it.
That's wild. I didn't know what
It
kind. I never even knew what kind. I thought it was like a root or something.
Yeah, no, and I don't know what part. They would have to really process it if it's the seed or I mean the fruit because like I said, man, you have it and so commercially they will graft on even they'll do the seedlings and they'll graft on a male because it's also a tree that's you have males and females and so they'll put the male which will give you the beautiful fall color but without of course the seeds and the stinky fruit so that is awesome but I did a basement like sounds like yours because the painting all you need is to win the lottery though or steal the truck and sell it and if you don't get into prison have enough money we lady had that and we
I
yes
think
I'm
I'll try another plan. I'll think of it. Maybe buy some concrete sealer. That's fine.
yeah that's a start you want it nice and dry but what I did was got a backhoe and dug a trench very carefully around her basement
Mm-hmm.
and then put a French drain. That's when you get, some extra money.
You see,
and then
this house has block foundation instead of like a slab.
Mhm.
So like the block, the foundation is like the blocks, and so it's not. I know exactly it leaks on like this wall that over here, right here, back that wall right there, and I probably could put some kind of drain like that would keep that much water from running down in there,
it would
and
be less, but then, the groundwater, if it's lower, will seep in. Yeah, that's actually the house I'm in right now. It has a
I have
little
a
base.
sub pump that pumps the water out from the basement. There's like it all runs down to like a hole, and there's a sub pump in that hole, and it pumps it out. So there's nothing like right there where it's at. I can't put nothing down there. There's like shelves down there, but they're like on stilts, sort of. So
No, cool. And so the house I am is a block wall. The basement, yeah, and it gets painted, and then the moisture it helps. But yeah, it sounds like yours is really draining.
yeah, it gets a lot of water, but it's coming down that wall, and there blocks and stuff, slab. But I could probably it probably would help put a drain. I never thought about that. It probably would help put a drain out there too to
Yeah,
drain.
even a surface drain.
Yeah, to carry it away from the wall.
Man, it's always my plan. It's like I'll go out and I'll do work for people if they let me stay there on a vacation or something. That would.
Well, I have a little apartment out here that's going to be done by spring. That had, you can bring the family and go to Mammoth Cave.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That's why, because I'm cheap. Plus,
Because I have,
I'd rather-
I mean, I'm like 30 minutes from Mammoth Cave, but I have that little apartment. I've got it's like a little. It's got a kitchenette and a bathroom and a little dining room and a bedroom and living room. Like the bedroom and living room are together. So.
Yeah, I don't know if they're big on those. What do they call them? Vacation rental. People just come in for my daughter did that, and her husband. They drove from California. I think they went, Grand Canyon. They went that. I think they went up the Carolinas. I think they went into Tennessee, but that's mainly what they were doing camping. They had a little some kind of little like a Prius, but I think better, newer one. But they just camped out of their car. But they got so many days, and it's like, no, we're gonna spend the money because they're really frugal. They live in this cute little house in an area, the cheaper area, don't have any bills, the little brats, and both have pretty good jobs, both in accounting type of stuff. But that's what they did. They would stay at little is it called a vacation rental? So you just like
Yeah.
rent it out for like weekends.
Yeah, like
They
timeshare probably, something like that.
like a timeshare, except for it's like you're
Yeah.
like your own little hotel, but a
Yeah.
single, and then you get a lot more money. People aren't
Like
staying there the whole time. But
like
again,
an Airbnb.
Yeah, something like that probably.
yeah, that sounds like it. And then, but that way, you don't have somebody, you're not stuck with them all the time.
But if
The
you
wear and
if you
tear on.
come here and work, you can stay in my little house. Y'all can stay there. I'm gonna have it. I'll have it fixed up by spring. I'm gonna have it fixed up. I'm putting a new floor in it, and so I'm taking all the cabinets out and everything, and have to redo the floor and redo it. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Yeah, because the place we were in, family property, parents passed away, the estate, and we just found out we're not going to be able to purchase it, which is probably a good thing, a God thing for us because, it's a lot to fix up. There's a lot to fix up.
yeah,
And this way, both Jem and I want to travel. I've been a homebody, third generation here in the area, and I've gone other places and just mainly um, I didn't get out of California I think until I was probably 14 or 15, and so more, yeah, not a big traveling family I was raised in. So but Gemma is really looking forward, and I know we want to get to Dinosaur Adventureland again, and she has relatives on the East Coast. I've never seen the Grand Canyon myself. What's the Mount Rushmore? Stuff I'd like to see, and mainly, as you probably know, I want to see the people more, and so I would probably do something where I could actually talk to human beings. That's why I love going to the place in the Philippines I go, because it's not the touristy place. I can actually talk to humans, different experiences, cultures, and just like, for you in the East Coast where you were raised, California, that's like three different planets away from each other,
I'm not on any coast. I'm in Kentucky.
Yeah, but I'm saying just
We
oh
don't
yeah.
have any ghosts.
See,
Uh,
you can tell a Californian. Anything back there is East Coast.
yeah, I'm not on any coast. We do have the Ark over there on the other side of the state, which is about 4 hours from my house. But then the Mammoth Cave is like 30 minutes. It's really nice though. It's great to go there in the summer.
Oh, is there places now? Wait a minute. I think I've looked on the maps. Somewhere around that area has like where you can dig fossils.
I
Or
don't
was
know
that
about. I mean, probably can, but Mammoth Cave is like that. You can tour. It's like the largest cave system in the world,
oh
and
wow.
it's like they've got this huge opening. They've got different. It's a great place to go in the summer when it's really hot and humid outside because it's like 70 degrees there all the time.
Oh
Inside
wow.
the
Yeah, I
cave.
know that.
So it's a great summer day trip, like to go on that. They have different tours, like like a historical tour, and then the short tour, and then they've got like a boat tour because there's a river that runs through the cave too that has the blind fish in it. The fish don't have eyes.
Oh, how cool. Yeah, and then that's what I want. And actually, I've been threatening. Actually, this is Philip's drawer right next to me. Well, that's his cabinet, and he's
But if you come through Kentucky, I'll be willing to let you stay there for a day or two or three, whatever, free.
well, I'll do some work because I'm too
But
hyper.
even if you don't work, you can come. You don't have to work. But
I know, but you get me, you'll get work. Because I'm a workaholic. I mean, I like throwing. So I'm right here at Philip's desk. So
yeah,
there's one of the things in his drawer. Things are like a little trilobite.
I have a bunch of crystals too
Yeah, and
from
there's
my
some
my
rock
woo
thing.
days. when I,
But yeah, he's my little collector. Yeah, there is one trilobite right there. I believe that's a trilobite. But yeah, the fool's gold pyrite. A lot of that around our
Pyro,
area.
yeah, yeah.
And then some arrowheads. Whether or not these are probably
Now that's something you can do in Kentucky is do a lot of arrowhead hunting. We have a lot of arrowheads
oh
here.
cool. I think these were manufactured ones, but they still look cool, and it gives you that representation. But yeah, so that's one thing I want to do with him with his to get him out. We here it's weird. We have again, so we're about 20 minutes from the Pacific coast, and you get time, you want to come see the redwoods in the wine country. Right now I don't have a place, but set you up with the most economical and the coolest way. But and a tour guide. But we're about 20.
I
Well,
used to, I used to haul wine out of there actually.
oh, really?
Uh-huh. Back I used to drive to California all the time, and I used to haul wine out of there. But
What
and
what
then
part?
like I don't know, it was in the back, like where all the wineries are, like right. You know what I mean? Like I
Napa,
can't,
Napa Valley. Is
yes,
that
that's
it?
it. Yeah.
There's
I
Napa, and
mean,
then the better one is exactly, of course, Sonoma County wines. But
yeah, Sonoma. That's where like we. I mean, I hauled like two or three different loads. Some most time I hauled um, produce out of there, out of California, and took it to New York. But every now and then, if the produce wasn't like, if I'd done missed that load, I would have to I'd haul wine.
no, is it? Oh, then that's boxed then, and bottled.
Yeah,
If you were doing vegetables, I was gonna say, was that bulk wine, or and it's like, oh, you said if you miss the vegetables, and I don't think they
yeah.
unless you're doing vegetable juice. No, yeah, that's the actual. I was telling you about the trucking company that did the milk, but the union guys messed with him, and actually his manager, he hired a manager, and the manager made the deal for the milk hauling that he wanted to start up because he knew it, and the dude made deals with the whoever was getting the milk, either the processors or the whichever, and it was costing him money, and the manager was getting kicked back, so he got fired. They had a union thing try to come in, and the biggest mouths trying to get into the union because he does non-union drugging, but he gives all the benefits, and he's up there, and then they're going, "Why do you want it? You're not going to get any more." Well, we'll be in a union, and so the biggest mouths trying to get into the union were the milk truck drivers, and figuring out that he's going to get rid of the milk trucks, one of the biggest mouths against him and for the union. It's like, well, can I get a job from you still? He's like, no, thank you. It's like, and he's a great guy, just super great guy. Just and he even, I think he's under 50, but he drives himself. He's up 3-4 o'clock in the morning and doing the office stuff, getting just an incredible kid.
Y'all got a lot of DFA milk out there. They're like DFA, the milk, like the plants. Is that you ever seen those signs? Dairy Farmers of America. That's the co-op. There's a lot out west. There's a lot of DFA milk. See, like milk you have to sell milk to a co-op, and the co-op buys the milk from the farmer. The farmer doesn't sell milk directly to the milk plant. It sells it to the co-op, and then the co-op is the one that decides where the milk goes and stuff.
And takes on that headache.
So we don't ever actually own the milk. I just haul the milk for the co-op. I pick it up at the dairy and haul it for the co-op.
And then they do their
thing. The Amish will sell you straight milk. The Amish, not non-homogenized, not pasteurized, straight raw milk.
You don't want to drink raw milk.
Yeah, you do.
No,
sure you do.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm a milk hauler. I've been doing this for 17 years. It's not really safe. I mean,
I've been drinking it longer than that.
Well, I mean, I know, but if anything is ever wrong with it, it won't kill. I mean, like pasteurization is very, 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 very important. There's a lot
because then it can sit on the shelf for 2 more weeks and give these companies the opportunity to make more money.
That's homogenation. Like, I mean, that's not necessary. But pasteurization just kills all the viruses and bacteria that's in the milk.
Yeah, because I mean,
I stand corrected, Miss Robin. Okay,
that's okay.
No, yeah, because my dad actually went to actually he was like real young. Before school, he had his first cow. He had to milk by himself, take care of, and then by the time he was high school, he was hand milking over 10 cows. Went to World War II, and when he came back, and he actually could have got out of World War II because he was a dairy in a dairy family. He was like, "No, I'm out of here." He was tired of getting up and milking cows. Yeah, that was before a lot of the technology. He comes back. His uncle actually offered him to buy. He would buy him. I'll buy a dairy, and you run it for so many years, and then I give it to you. And my dad was like, no.
Well, like right now, the reason why I said that, Joseph, is because right now, like especially in California, which you're not in California, the bird flu has been found in raw milk. And actually, there's been one person that was contaminated, a human being that was contaminated. It went into the bird that has bird flu, and they got it from raw milk. That's how it got into their body. But of course, we have not found any cases of it over here yet in the milk. But there's a possibility. I mean, it's like a warning right now that and if you're used to drinking the same milk all the time, you get used to the bacteria. You know what I mean? You kind of get accustomed to it, so it don't bother you. But like if I was to go drink, just some random farmer's milk, I would probably get sick.
Probably kind of like water in different places.
You kind of have to your body has kind of get used to. You know what I mean? Like my Mennonites drink raw milk all the time. You know what I mean? They drink it. That's what they drink. Because one of my farmers is a Mennonite. But you know what I mean? If it would probably make me sick to drink it because my stomach's not used to it and like
the bacteria.
Yeah.
So here's Robin's advice: if you're going to go with raw milk, start out with just a little touch. And no, I'm teasing.
Till the bird flu warning is over with, I would stay away from it anyway because it's that's how it transmits from the animals to the humans so far that we know is that it gets into the milk.
Yeah, because milk is like a little sponge.
Yeah, like
Huh?
I said though, I was confused on my terms, and that's what I thought you were talking about, the process that just allows it to stay on the shelf, just like all the preservatives and things we slap into food unnecessarily, just so it
Yeah.
can sit on the shelf longer.
And one time,
So
and
that
like they put vitamins in some of it, and they take the skim out. You know, like skim it out and or make it skim milk. Sometimes some of the milks they put like those cultures in there that help you digest dairy. If you're not you know if you can't digest dairy, they put that in there. That's sweet acidophilus. Is that the kind of milk, and it's got the cultures in it to where you can digest dairy if you have that problem. And so they do all that kind of stuff. They all the different uh, recipes of milk that they got: chocolate milk and strawberry milk and all that stuff. All that's right, like the homogenization process. Like
well,
Yeah,
I'm,
no,
I'm
we did.
smart enough to know that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. I am
yes,
smart
yes,
enough to know.
brown cows. Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
and
of
that's
people.
when you get the striped milk is the part brown, part white. That's where you get stripes of brown in the white milk. Yeah, it's
Oh,
and
that's
we both
zebra
did
milk.
mushrooms. We all did mushrooms or something before we came onto this broadcast. Anyway, yeah, my daughters raised dairy goats in 4-H when they were little. Awesome creatures, but yeah, that the milk and cows are the same. I actually like goat milk when it's fresh
hmm
because it doesn't taste like a stinky goat like the stuff you buy. But yeah, they said how it's like little sponges. So the milk cell will, um, that's how they said it, it will sponge up a lot of nasty stuff. And I remember just doing milking, and that was hand. It's like, man, you're really close having to clean the thing. You don't know if it has an infection. In the modern day, it's like, okay, and I don't know what kind of testing. Actually, you can tell us, like, do they test that milk? Because you got like 100 cows, and does it just coming raw when you get it, and when it
Yeah,
goes to
they test
when
it
they,
before they pump it off our truck. Both my farmers test it for antibiotic before I load it, actually, because they don't want to pay for the other farmers' milk. Because if they get down there and like
oh
one farmer had antibiotics in their milk, then they have to buy the whole load.
oh
So they test it before I pick it up. But when I get to the plant, they won't even hook nothing to my truck until they test the load for antibiotics because if
yeah.
it
So are you hooking up hoses to their tankers and
yes.
actually putting it in your yeah, right on. I had the privilege of driving with a guy who did that through Indiana, the dairy farms, and that's where I tasted raw milk for the first time, right out the cold tank, and while he was sucking it up, and
I
yeah,
only have
it's
2 barns now. I've had as many as 30, like, over there around Hopkinsville and stuff. There's a lot of Amish over there, and sometimes on Saturdays, I've had to pick up, like, 30 little barns, of Amish. They be, like, right beside each other. But now I just have 2 where I live here now. I took this is just 2.
that's awesome.
That's all the milk that's in this county, so and I take it to Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Because we
Very
don't
well.
need
So how
cows.
many
We'll
gallons?
just go to the store to get milk.
Yeah.
How many gallons do you pick up?
We pick it up in pounds. Raw
Oh,
milk, raw milk is measured in pounds because they get paid by the pound. I have 54,000 pounds right now is what my load is. So that if you divide that by 8.6, that'll give you the gallons.
okay. So the gallon of milk, same weight as
Uh,
water,
ga-
then
yeah, 8.6.
gallons a gallon.
Water's not that high. I don't think. I think water's less than that a little bit.
That's all. I don't know. That's because I don't I don't have to deal with that anymore, except for when I'm lifting buckets of water, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah,
Um,
we weigh it in pounds. Like we measure it in pounds instead. You know what I mean? So I just do it by pounds.
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
they had my cousin's dairy out in Marin County, and spent a lot of years out there when I was little with the cousins, and we had fun. But
You talking about them goats? Like, my daughter lives in California. She had those dairy goats, and she tried for a while, and she even had this little baby goat that she had that like bred, and she helped it be born, and she knitted a sweater, and she ended up after she decided she wasn't going to milk them, she ate the goat.
I
I said, you knitted it a sweater and you ate it. I just it just blew my mind. She's crazy.
no, my wife always talks about they raised a pig in the house in the Philippines, and like a pet, and then
Yeah, she had the goat in the house, like with her dog and stuff, and then she ate it. I was like, "What?" I couldn't have done
that's a farm girl. She's going to be a survivor in the.
that. She's so crazy. Yeah, she's
Yeah, I got
pretty.
to watch. You don't want her to be your neighbor, man. All my chickens would be gone.
She's a minimalist. She's a minimalist. She doesn't believe in having nothing like.
It's like my daughter, just awesome, and it's so cool. They live in a house that's and it's just her and her husband and the dog, and I think it's only like 700 square feet, just a bedroom, living room, closet, bathroom, and a little nookie kitchen, and they're happy as clams. They'll no bill, no they have no mortgage, they have no payments, and just awesome.
That's about my little house out there. That I was telling you could stay in. That's about what it is. It's an efficiency apartment, I guess.
Mm. No, I'm lucky. When I was growing up, 5 kids. I was the fourth boy, so of course sister got her own room. I got kind of like whatever nook could hold a bed, and
Yeah.
one time it was a little closet, and then I really, when I was high school, I got one of those little teeny, those old travel trailers, probably out of the 40s or probably 50s, and what is like 15 foot long with the beds on one side, and that was my bedroom. And I was happy as a little clam having my own space. But yeah, so my wife is property wise, she's like house wise, smaller the better, and that's
Uh, I'm glad I'm not in a camper right now. But I'm lucky because my house is paid for. So
awesome.
actually, when I sold my condo that I lived in, it was paid for too. The house was cheaper. So
Nice. So then you could help fix this one up.
yeah, so give me money to work on that little cottage thing outside and everything. So
Little income stream. That's awesome. And
I'm probably going to end up moving my best friend into it eventually. She lives with her mom now, but her mom's probably going to move into a nursing home. But she's not. I'm going to wait. It'll be a while before she moves into it.
no, totally awesome. And that's how, and I've said that before with people and that's why I really like your friendship, because we can believe totally different, but still have relatable stuff. Your daughter, I'm envious of her and my daughter, that are just like, yeah, we don't need all this stuff. But they're totally comfortable. She has her 4 or 5 little ducks in the backyard.
Yeah,
And
mine had ducks for a while actually last year, but she said they're nasty. Like she had them in like little plastic pools or something, And she said they crap everywhere,
they're
So she ate the
yeah.
ducks. Yeah, she ate the ducks. She ate the ducks.
Oh boy. Man, tell her to raise some more. My wife will buy
she,
them.
she did
They
not like the ducks at all.
they are, but they're characters. I was telling my son yesterday, we had one. My uncle was a big dude, strong biker, and probably 250, 300 pounds, but muscle. I mean, you whack him and it was solid, and until of course he got old. But he he raised this little duckling, and he'd go to the little wherever water thing, and he'd lay in the water and let the duck, just swim in this little pond he made in his arms. Got too big, so he had a friend who had a pond with ducks, with girl ducks. So he but yeah, you can, he'll take it off his hands. So my uncle brought it. The guy was great. Oh, this is super. Brought it down to the pond. He said by the time the guy would get back to the house, the duck had got onto the porch and chased the dog away and was eating the dog food. You guys tell me, if you don't come get this duck, I'm going to shoot it. So we got it, and called him Quack Quack, man. But we had this fir tree out in the front yard, and as a little kid, I remember after a while, well, it wasn't too long, but like you'd have to really watch because he'd be hiding in that fir tree, and if you got there, he would just come out and start biting at you. Character.
It must be embarrassing for that dog to get run off by a duck.
I know, but they're we raised a couple of little ones. My wife wanted duck eggs, which she loves. I love duck eggs, man. They actually have a real rich flavor to them. Anyway, and so they were little, and I was going to put them in with the chickens, and I was afraid, and they were smaller than the chickens, and so I was like, so I was there. I let the ducks out just to see how they because I had them in the cage there to get them used to each other, and I was afraid because the rooster, this big old dude, and so the rooster comes up to the duck. The duck kind of like puts his head up just straight for the rooster. The rooster freaks out. He's running away. Those ducks were and they got a beak. I mean, they got the flat beak. They were the rulers.
Well, there's a sharp end on them though. Like they're flat, but then there's a little thing on the end of a duck's beak that's sharp. Like they can hurt.
They do, but I would think the rooster with the with his sharp little buggers, but they were the duck would come and the rooster the chickens, and even when they got big, the rooster was still bigger and he had the sharp whatever they call them talons, yeah. But man, he'd like the duck would come, everybody it was parting the water.
They have spurs. They call spurs, like a rooster does spurs.
Yeah, and it was just, that's it actually. But yeah, it was just funny because I just thought, these cute little ducks. It's like, those dudes are, and probably why they make it in nature because those suckers they're.
I think talons are like eagles and
hawks,
owls and hawks and stuff like that. I think.
Oh, I'm glad you said it. Claude would make a video out of that, telling how much of an idiot I am. But with you, he'll give you grace because it's a simple mistake. And plus, I didn't know it anyway.
You can make a video of me anytime, Claude. Make a video. I don't care.
I know. I'm kind of. It's like I looked at Claude's list just the other day. I hadn't for a while because I've been so busy. But it's like, oh my gosh, come on! There's more Dr. Hovind ones than me. I want me as your video library star. I'm second place to Dr. Hovind. I'm just not happy with that. But it's all fun because we're just trying to get through this thing called life, and it's we do the best we can. I think everybody I know is just
I came in what I came in for a while ago was when you mentioned the elephants.
Oh yeah,
ivory. I was going to tell you they're okay. They've been hunting ivory for so long that they started wiping out all of the elephants that had big tusks.
Yes.
So now the elephant population is being born without tusks. Pretty soon there won't be no tusks because the tuskless animals were like the ones that were not being killed.
And they were not when there was actually the big bulls with the huge tusks. They're not getting the females, and
they're dying. Yeah, they're dying.
Natural. Now
they're dying. Yeah. So the ones that are getting to breed are the tuskless ones. So,
natural, kind of a reverse man-made natural selection.
I mean,
it's artificial selection. It's like breeding dogs. Yeah,
it wasn't intentional by the humans. They really did. The poachers were just doing that. But when they started, over some time when they started keeping records, they started, noticing that the tusks were the ones born with tusks, they were smaller, and a lot of them are born without tusks now because of that. And so that's one way that maybe that natural selection or the selection is going to save the elephants from poaching because the people had killed the elephants, just so they could cut their tusks off.
Okay, now there's a second thing that'll push my buttons because anything dealing with more marginalized people or kids, if I see them bullied, that'll get me emotional. But also this needless killing of animals, and this is one where anti-PETA, so many of those elephants, we still have some big elephants because of captivity, and they go, oh, they want to be out in the wild. No, that sucker. I'd be in a cage if I had enough room for exercise and it's not like a prison, I want to eat. I want to have exercise. I want to do what I want. And the elephants and the animals, it's like, oh, I wish I had a bigger cage. Now, I think they should have good room and stuff, but so many zoos around the world is what is keeping a lot of those animals. They like they're saying, oh, they're almost extinct in the wild. Well, there's tons of them though in captivity, and I would rather see them in the wild. But I'm so thankful for the people in zoos in places, and I think it's Kenya. Don't quote me. Is that in their preserves with the elephants? There's no questions asked. If you see somebody out with a gun in one of those animal preserves where there's the
Yeah.
the the elephants, but other animals, it's you're done.
Yeah, they don't poach. My youngest daughter works at the Louisville Zoo, and
Oh,
they got rid of their elephants because they had one die. It was die of old age, and you have to have at least 3. That's like a rule. You're not allowed to have any less than 3. You can't keep. I mean, if at your zoo, if there's not at least 3 of them, they don't want you to, because that's not enough for them to socialize like that.
that's the awesomeness of education too, and knowledge.
So the
Is
Louisville Zoo lost their elephants. They had to send their elephants somewhere else because they got down to 2. So
and it's just like and like Maxine, the dog. I mean, I had a neighbor because she was out on the deck howling, and he phoned me up. It's like, oh, because he has German Shepherds. Like, Dan, you do know they're social animals. I think she's just nervous up there. And it's like, but I watch my dog, and I could tell if there's like 3 sections of dogs around the neighborhood, and Maxine's a gossip. If there's dogs that direction, she's that way barking. But otherwise, she's just sitting there, just like da 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 da, ditzy dog. And but it is, you need and very careful. We went yesterday. We went an hour away for a job. Usually, I try to stay closer, and we went down to the Bay Area looking for jobs. And I go, and my wife's like, "Oh, are we gonna keep Maxine on the deck?" It's like, "No, we'll bring her." And she was happy as a little clam. And she got to ride down there, except for I told that I think yesterday our car's a Ford something Flex, so it's a 3-seat type thing. There's the driver's side, the middle, and then the back.
Mhm.
And she was in the back, but she was wanting to look, so she poked her head between the headrests, and that's where my mother-in-law was sitting. And still, as a Filipino, the dogs are more guard dogs, so she'll pet Maxine. She's used to it. It's the first actually house dog she would probably ever have been around. But it's always funny. It's like, Maxine, good Maxine, and she'll like pat in the air. She won't even touch her, but you can tell she's getting that. But Maxine had her head right next to hers, and it was like making my mother-in-law very uncomfortable. Maxine, sit.
My dog went to college, so my
So what's
daughter
that?
my daughter took my dog to college, so she went to
Oh.
school. So I have 3 cats still, and a bearded dragon, and a leopard gecko, and a ball python.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember you talking about that. Your daughter had gone to college. You helped her get there, or her car. I think it was when her car broke down or something.
Yeah,
That's the
she took the
same.
dog though. She took our dog.
Yeah. Well, she probably needs it more than probably.
Yeah, that's her. Like, she has emotional. What do you call them? When they get an emotional support dog. That's her. That's she got like her classified as that. You know what I mean, for school.
That's awesome. Yeah, because
She lives in a dorm, and they let her bring her dog.
and we it's like, and I don't know how you were raised. Probably the same way I was. It's like you're just be seen, not heard. That's pretty well the culture back when I was young. I don't know about back where you were, but it's like
I never
you're
was very
seen.
good at that. No.
Yeah, well, I would, yeah.
I never was very good at the seen, not heard thing, but I suppose I'm supposed to be though.
but with that, and we try to as a species, I guess, try to, and probably not even a bad reason. You just want your kids to conform. You want them to be healthy, and then it's like, okay, I mean, as not healthy, but I mean, oh, you can't have problems. Don't have problems. Don't have problems. But humans, we have problems, and that is one of the really awesome things I see now is that as a society, as just
Mhm.
the information, it's like, no, it's okay to have problems,
We all have
but
problems.
we
I
all
want
have
to,
problems.
I
But
want to tell Father Charles that a head like this is guaranteed to hurt. That's what he said. I just thought I'd let you know that because he said that I was holding my head. I'm just gonna tell him it's guaranteed to hurt. What I mean? His head's
that
guaranteed.
no, and that's what we share as humans, and that's what we're hopefully you'll see it better here in um gotta love Glove Chuck's humor. Dan hablas español. I think that's do I understand Spanish? And
I don't speak Spanish.
all I do is like when I had when I would have people around, it's just like trabajar más rápido, which is work faster, but that's or sanka aquí or sanka allá, which is a hole here there, but that's
That's it. That's all your Spanish. I don't know that much.
that's about. I don't even. That's one good thing though. My brain doesn't work that way, so I don't even know the cuss words. And my brother, he doesn't speak Spanish except for all the cuss words, and I didn't even want to put that. That didn't do anything. One thing I know, and if you hear it out of a Spanish person, they're lying to your face. No caliente, no caliente. When they try to give you some of their food, and they're saying it's not hot. It's not hot. They're bold-faced liars. They want to see the white boy just go, wah!
I didn't mean to run Joseph off. I was,
No, his computer goes here and there. And where is everybody?
I don't know.
Oh, that was 29 minutes ago. Yeah, well, it's been a long, and you guys are getting late over there.
He just left.
Joseph went out. What time do you have to? You hauling tomorrow? Do you do a 7? How?
Yeah,
So since
I'm leaving. I mean, I got tomorrow. Yeah, I get up
so,
about.
how many days? Now the cows are going 7 days a week.
I only have 2 barns, so I only work every other day now. I work every other day.
Oh, so they got refrigerators, so they'll.
All the time. I stay on that right there every other day. Like so, then like 1 year I'll work Christmas, and next year I'll be off on Christmas. You know what I mean? It just works out. I just work every other day.
Okay, and so how long can they have the milk in their fridge before they got to get it out of there? So you're
Well,
saying that every.
they're full. They're both my farmers are full after in 48 hours.
Okay.
They both milk 3 times a day, which means that by the time I pick them up, there's 6 milkings. And that's the most they can hold. Both of them. So.
Oh.
I would have to, but that's what they want you to pick them up in 48 hours anyway. That's what they want you to do
Before it gets anywhere else. Oh, another one. I don't know if I told you this one because I told you my good buddy had the milk trucks, and he said the truck driver. I don't know why they did it, but they kind of got over to the shoulder, and mostly full truck, if not totally full truck, and you right now you're probably shaking your head because it was on the the dairy driveway. And whether there's another vehicle or something, the truck driver went off to the side. You can probably tell in your mind right now, panic, 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 because
you can't let a milk truck cannot drop off the shoulder of the road.
It was on a tilt. He gets out there, and I was talking to his mechanic because he goes, yeah, he's not very smart, but he just cares about his trucks, and he's really detailed. And he's over on the wrong side of the truck looking at it, figuring out what are we going to do. And the mechanic says, you better get out of there. You better get out of there. So they had to they brought another truck out and transferred over, luckily, because there was no way, as there was no way they could get that thing back onto the road where it was loaded.
You can pump the milk off onto another trailer. Yeah. Because, they're dangerous. I mean, they're dangerous. They can, when, like, and if they keep moving for a long time too, but the milk just goes to the lowest point. I mean, wherever the lowest point of the truck is. So if you hit the shoulder of the road, you're gonna go off the road. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of bad wrecks.
No, I
don't take nothing like that. Never have. and things.
Wait,
I was reading Father Charles's message.
oh, where's
No, I don't take no Xanaxes. No, no.
I hope Chuck's doing all right.
I don't think that would be real good, conducive to my milk on. But I've
Well,
recently,
you wouldn't care which way that was sloshing. You
yeah,
would when your truck was upside down or sideways.
I mean, they locked me up. But I'm gonna get off here. I just want to come in. All I was gonna do is come in, talk about the elephants. So
No, and I'd heard that before, and that's and again how awesome nature is, no matter whether how you think it got
that's
here.
sad though. That you know, what I mean, that someday in the future, humans won't even get to see those and those elephants with those big tusks. Like
And the and only in zoos when not so we'll probably see them more than actually the people that are around them. But it was like the beavers, where we studied and showed that what just them being there, and there are crazy on making an environment, but the elephants have a role in the environment and the planet, and they all fit together so well, and it's like not only that we're gonna miss the awesomeness of the species is that they're doing something. They're doing something there to help the planet.
yeah, those tusks though. I mean, I guess they probably protected them from lions and stuff like that. But they were left over, I guess, from the what were those big things that were like elephants? The furry
Oh,
mammal.
the mammoth,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Yeah, the mammoth and those, yeah,
yeah,
those
mammoth,
curly ones.
mammoth.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I've seen them like throw lines and stuff with them. Use those big things, and so they won't have protection like that. They
No,
won't have a
exactly.
weapon.
And like I said, the rangers are packing heavy rifles to shoot on sight any of poachers they see, and it's so sad that um, it comes to that. That somebody's out there poaching. And it's like, what are you doing?
I
It's
couldn't
like,
see an elephant there. I used to
yeah,
hunt, but I could not shoot an elephant. I don't think. I couldn't shoot the gun. First of all, they take the elephant down. I
no.
mean, they're really big, but
I was fortunate because hunting family. I was the dog when I was little, so I'd go through the brush to scare and then have there'd be the older guys around, and where I would be and the dogs. And once I got old enough, though, I remember getting my license. Was in my cousin's property, like 300 acres out in the redwoods, but it was also sheep country, so it was cleared, and it was an apple orchard. So I was in this really cool. It was ground was down about 4 feet, like a landslide. I always thought it was maybe a fault, but I think it was just a landslide, but a huge one. But anyway, I'm down there and I see this buck come off, and I'm looking at it, it's like, well, I can probably see a fork there. Private property. My mom always said that the smaller the deer, the more tender it was,
yeah,
and they're like rabbits out there. And I had it, and I ready, and it's like all I had to do trigger. It's like, you know what? I eat perfectly fine. We were poor, we didn't, we ate what we ate. It was like, I don't feel like killing that. And so I never had to. I would have, I know I would if my family was hungry or neighbors were hungry. I have a
I have,
bunch of
I have a
squirrels.
10, I have a 10-point buck that's stuffed, that's head mounted or whatever. But
Wow.
but I don't hunt no more. I don't really care about shooting them anymore. But um, yeah, in Kentucky, like they have to have a 4-inch button or whatever, that button on there, or they're considered a doe. And then you have to. But you can hunt does certain days a week, days too.
Okay, yeah, no does out here, but and the buck has to have the forks going. He has to be over. Oh, is that kitty on the bed over there, the couch, or
Yes, I have 3 cats, so yeah, that's
yeah?
one of them. Yeah, that's just one of them. That's my little orange one, and I have a white one and a gray one somewhere. The orange one and the gray one are sisters. My daughter got them from the dairy farmer I was up there. The mama left them, and she brought them home. They were like a day old, and she bottle fed them. But they're wild. They're just like feral cats. They're crazy. They fight all the time. But I have a white cat that I've had for a while. She's a princess. So,
No, cats. I'm because and then I don't know where I heard it. Probably a meme somewhere, but it said that the dog is there and it's like trying to worship you. Oh, you're the greatest thing ever,
Mhm.
master. I love you. And you got the cat. It's like, oh yes, you can come worship me. And
yeah,
it
yeah.
and it's uh,
We are like gods to dogs, and cats are dogs. They are the gods
yeah,
themselves.
they think they're the god, and
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
true because yeah, I love cats. I've
Everyone's
always
like
liked
crazy
cats.
cat. That one's the littlest one. But I think these other one ain't here. My white one's a princess. She is.
No,
But
they're
thanks for Dan for letting me come on.
yeah, no, this has been fun because this would just kind of like hang out, um, and chill,
I didn't
and that
mean to take
was
over your show.
no, it was good because I was done. And as you know, I'd rather just talk and chat. I'm gonna have to say something so offensive. What can I say so offensive that Chuck would actually come on? Because he doesn't do it with my nice sweet face. Chuck, come on
Oh,
and talk.
oh no, don't say anything offensive to make you come
Oh,
on.
I'm teasing, but that'll get missing. That'll get missing Maud on sometimes if I'm really. And I gotta really plan it because she's such a troll. I gotta be a sneaky troll to push her button to get her to come on and do it. But this has been awesome, and I'm going to look at comments really quick, which puts me over this way, I think. And what is that?
Oh, I don't see very many, but I may not see them all. But
Okay, it's just
I think Brother Charles may be our only person be
yeah,
watching.
Chuck, come on and I can't see the link again. Maybe I didn't put it. Chuck, come on, let's talk. Let's have some fun talking about burning cats.
Oh no! Shh! Don't bring that up.
I know that was, and again,
Fire
that's what
cats. That's what it was. Fire cats.
that's why that's why Chuck and I are kind of like I think the same that way because it's you know if you don't joke about something that horrendous, we're either going to kill somebody or start to cry. It's just how do you deal with that kind of
Yeah,
that's and again the thing
a
that
lot of cruelty. A lot of cruelty.
I if I was what somebody said if I was the king or whatever, it's like if I see that that's death penalty on the spot. I don't care how old you are. You torch some cat, you're
There's
dead.
something wrong. I mean, I don't believe I'm not a proponent of the death penalty, but there's definitely something wrong with those people.
Yeah, and that's where I'm thinking that I don't want to be
They,
in
they
charge.
probably don't need to be out in society nowhere
Yeah,
around
well,
people.
they said it starts that way.
Yeah, I mean that's why I say there's something wrong with their thinking, their empathy and stuff like that. You know, what I mean, they're
I would tend to agree, and usually, unfortunately, and this is just
sociopath.
Dan
I think sociopathic is the one where you don't feel empathy for other people.
correct, and I whether it's genetic or cultural. As a little kid, I know as a foster parent, they used to tell us that if a child is in 3 or 4 different homes, they will lose the ability to attach to other humans. And
Yeah,
with that comes a walling of your feelings and emotions. Because if you can't trust, actually, real quick, and I'll let you go, is pastor today is from a Bible college, and he preached at a church today, but he adopted 4 kids from, I think it was India. I think they're
mhm.
all, it doesn't matter, but at least the one was from India. They went to the orphanage. The girl, he said she's only like 7 or 8, orphan. She's walking down the street. He said she's got this swagger. She goes, what do you want to eat? McDonald. They go into the McDonald's and they don't, communicate that well. But the girl's up at the counter, this little girl, and you can tell it's a deep, deep debate with the person at the cash register, and they're kind of figuring it out. And she wanted chicken, but it didn't come with the kid toys. So she was negotiating at 7 years
Happy
old.
Meal. She wanted a Happy Meal with chicken.
She wanted the Happy Meal toy, but she wanted the chicken thing. And he said when she was done, she got her chicken and 2 Happy Meal toys.
Yeah.
But he just said how that she was able to figure out as that small age she had to really figure out. But the sad part of it, they got to America. Okay, we're going to church. It'll be a couple hours, and it was like, what's taking so long? What's taking so long? And he said she came out and she was like stuffed with stuff. She had an extra pair of clothes. She had a stuffed animal. She had her pockets full of all stuff because she, kind of the trust issue. Yeah, you're taking me somewhere for 2 hours. Yeah, right. I'm going to be, and just did not have that trust.
Didn't think nobody was going to come back and get her.
And the sadness of that. But, you times that even more. And to think that, people will, why would you have empathy for something? If you have been treated worse than a dog, like that cat, tortured cat, why would you care? Why would I care about Robin, or why would I care about Chuck? Is because, no, wow, I've been tortured. Why shouldn't I torture somebody else? And so a lot of times, even with the psychopaths, I do have more sympathy. It's like, we haven't, especially our culture, give them a rubber room, give them, videos on the wall. They can pretend they're anything they want to be, make them comfortable, because there's something wrong.
I don't know, but I think that just keep them away from other people.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Give them some nice, because, jail is not a good place, locking them up in a mental hospital.
We don't have them anymore though, because there's not many mental hospitals anymore. I mean, there's like wings of regular hospitals, but we got rid of asylums, a whole lot of them anyway.
Yeah, because those, I guess, were again bad. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, they were a place of really bad.
Yeah, but anyway, I will let you out of here. Safety on that. How's the snow?
It's quit snowing. I mean, it's mostly melted except for the yard and stuff like that. But we got about 6 or 8 inches eventually
Okay,
here at my house. So
I know.
It was pretty bad.
Somebody was worried about black ice. Oh, that was Pastor Jay when you mentioned about being in the snow, and he was worried about you with the black ice. Nothing. You have that up there.
No, like I said, I've had to like chains. I've had to drag out the chains a couple of times on the truck. So,
no, stay safe out there.
All right,
and
thank you.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming by. Chuck, I do respect you.
Kick me out. I don't know how to get out.
Oh, I'm gonna boot you. Hey, yeah, where? Hopefully Claude's here. He can do a thing of I'm booting. Because he said I booted him one day, and all I did was put him backstage, and because I don't know how to boot anybody.
Oh, you don't know how to do it either? I don't know how to do it.
I can get you out of here. Yep, there you go. Remove you from the scene. Thank you. Safety out there.
I apologize.
There you go. Alrighty, we're gonna end this thing, and have a great night, Missing Mod. Chuck, if you're still there, I think you're the only two carriers on here. So just God bless everybody that and hopefully, as you see, even as awkwardly as I communicated, there is evidence out there of things being designed, created. But whatever it is, you either believe that it came about, it was just the appearance of design, random chance, unguided processes, or there was an intelligent designer. I just, if you have any like distrust, if you've had bad church situations growing up, or if you've had, grown up in an atheistic home that ridiculed belief, there's a lot out there, say like a Hitler who confessed to be Christian, Jim Jones, who was a confessed atheist, but he was pretending to be Christian, and then the Christians confessing Christians that can be horrible people because we're all human. Check it out. Check out for yourself. God is there. I'm a witness of that. The evidence, my biggest evidence, was when I confessed to God my need for Him, my acknowledgement that I was a sinner, and then His dwelling within, coming, developing. What did I say? Sorry, there was a little gnat. I got off the subject, but yeah, that He dwelled inside me. He showed me the love. He gave me love, joy, peace, this fruit, this good stuff, which I don't have an animosity. If you're gonna push my buttons, if you're gonna see emotion out of me, it's gonna be you're hurting people. You're hurting. You're just being a mean human being. But otherwise, we're all just trying to get through this life the best we can, through the good and bad circumstances we have had. But I can tell you, as somebody who was bullied, that when God started to dwell inside me, the stuff, the darkness, the resentments I had, the anxieties I had, slowly and some quickly went away. And now I can sit here and just have an eternal hope and have fun. I have fun through this life. If I die and I wake up and there's nothing, which means I don't actually wake up, I'm not going to know it. I'm going to be that happy little clam that doesn't know that somebody's about ready to, if you watch the video today, it was, they took these little clam-like things that look like worms that are inside of wood. They open it up and yummy. That poor little clam, when he was inside that log, no clue that he was about ready to be dinner to somebody. And the same thing, that you can have the horrible things going on in the world today. Look at the news. There's an eternal hope, though. Those people that their houses burnt down, those people that the storms devastated everything, that could be all their life. The people I've showed you, and actually in the opening credits, a lot of those people lost their houses during a flash flood in the Philippines. And if that's what you're hoping for, or if you're just like an animal waiting for the next meal, your life is vain. There's nothing to it. It's emptiness. And I give you, even if it's not true, the hope of everlasting life, seeing my loved ones again, knowing that God, who is the creator and knower of everything, He's going to be just. If I don't see you in eternal heaven, it's because you're going to say, I don't want it. God wants everybody to come to the knowledge and the truth, and through His forgiveness and grace, life eternal, and to be a son and daughter, His son and daughter, precious, loved. So if I don't see you in heaven, it's because you're not going to want to be there. So I'm giving you that, just my, and Chuck out there, Stephanie in the audience, have that hope, and we would love you to have it too. Anyway, God bless everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. And I should have done this quicker. What'd I do? I'll just do this. Then you don't have to. I don't even want. I did that because Robin came in, and I don't like seeing somebody's face and then me like being behind something like that. My friends from the Philippines. We're gonna just thank everybody. And sorry if I didn't get to your comments. Yell at me next time, or come on in. I hope I gave you the link enough, because I get swayed when I'm talking to somebody. And so I'll babble here while we get out of here. This should be it. All right. God bless everybody.